And what's up, everybody? Welcome to this Tuesday edition of the Juice is Loose podcast. Sorry if wasn't on last night, and I forgot to tell people, hey, we're not going to do it on Monday. But
Nice.
I was
Good job.
just excited to watch my Detroit Lions whoop on the
No.
New York Giants. So.
Shut your face. Shut your face.
But it was a good night. But anyway, we're here and we're going to talk. Let's just go right into the Nintendo Direct since it's almost been a full week. I know T has already talked about it on the live stream with OJ, but since it's been a while and it's already been talked about to death, I guess we'll just hit the big topics. And overall, just again, since I think it was April they did the last Direct with this format, so we can talk about them continuing the highlight, or was it, how did they word that? Headlines.
Oh, okay.
I think it was the headlines. But this one took it a step further, where it had 3 spotlights, where it had Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Octopath, and Mario all got extended looks, which to me was like, now that they did that, like, they can't undo that. That needs to be the new standard. I love the headline thing. I liked it last time. And adding the spotlight feature, where instead of having a separate, maybe they won't have a separate Direct for Mario Odyssey or something. Probably still Xenoblade, but
they don't need a Direct for Mario Odyssey at this point.
No, I didn't even watch that other than a few little bit in the beginning. But for me, this was the absolute perfect format. It was the best Nintendo Direct they've ever done. Simply put. So, T, what did you think of the format? You happy with the way they did it? And what's your take on it? Just the format itself.
Yeah, I mean, I like the format from the beginning. I always like that whole rapid fire, you see what's coming up kind of deal. Because, I mean, it is, at the end of the day, it's fun to be hyped and whatnot and treated like an E3, but it's news. It's a newsletter. It's a digital or video newsletter. So I always like that. And it kind of gets you set up for, what's coming. And then you're like, okay, that's the end of the line there, so we can move on to the stuff I really want to see or whatever. So.
Did anybody else put their hand up so they couldn't see what the other headlines were?
A lot of people were doing that.
I did that.
I actually do the opposite, because sometimes they hide sometimes it's like riddles. I love taking just 1 second to see it, try to see if you can analyze what it's gonna be and everything.
Because they said
the Doom and
shooters, first-person shooters.
2 iconic,
Yeah. So I was curious about that. I did see that ahead of time. But were you done, T, with your take on that?
Yeah. I was just agreeing with what Retro was saying.
All right, Terrell, what do you think? You happy with the format?
Oh yeah, I like the format. I like the fact, because it now feels like these Directs have more in them than they did before. But I think it's also because they're doing Directs. They're doing more of like, we'll wait until we have a bunch of stuff and then we'll just shoot it out in this kind of format. So every time I watch one of these Directs, it doesn't feel like I'm watching like 5 minutes worth of content. It's always like announcement after announcement after announcement after announcement after announcement, and you feel like you really get some out of it. And like Retro said, they hide riddles, so it's not like looking ahead always benefits you. And I like the spotlight, because that means we always got time for some special announcements, and then we get to see 50 reaction videos like, oh my god, what is this? So I like it.
And Retro, what was your take?
I ever since the first time they did this like bullet point thingy, like last time they did it, I was hoping they would keep doing that, because I prefer having something like this every 4 months, instead of like with the Wii U, people were like every month, oh, it's like the 17th or something, it should be Nintendo Direct tomorrow and shit, and then you get one. But if you get one every month, it's going to be like 15 to 20 minutes and you get the same shit over and over again. And I like this bullet thing. You get so much stuff. It's like crazy how much they can put in there, and they keep it interesting. They mix it up with the spotlights and everything. I absolutely love this formula, and I really hope they keep using this.
And I guess I'll just ask everybody, how do you feel about this Direct versus the past Directs? Do you think it's the top one like I do? Do you think it's top 3? Where would you put this Direct? I know it's hard to think back to all the ones we've had, but Retro, why don't we start with you?
If I would have to gauge it against what they did previously, I'd rate it pretty high. I don't know if I should say why yet, because you might get into it, but with how they did it, like the formula, like I said, I love this formula. The stuff they revealed, the segmenting it with the spotlights, I absolutely love this. I definitely place it top 3, probably. Yeah, definitely.
All right, what about you, T?
Yeah, I don't know where I would place it. It's definitely up there, and I was trying to think back to like other directs, and I remember being really entertained by the Mario Kart 8 one. Like it was just like a really solid directive.
Yeah, that
mostly
one
about Mario Kart 8 though, so you didn't get any like information out of their games. But yeah, it's probably in my top 3 for sure. And it's just like the only thing I miss is those Iwata isms, you know, those quirky banana staring stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say, staring at the banana. Okay.
So Retro, did you get the same one as us, or did you have your Nintendo of Europe head guy talking?
I think there was a Europe one, but like I said, the first one I watch is always the American one, and then I just sift through. I look at the timestamp to see if this timestamp is different or not, to see if there's some different shit. But I didn't really sift through this time through the European one yet.
Could I guess Terrell, get your where you think it ranks, and then also how do you feel about, you know, this is just Koizumi and then a narrator or voiceover in English, like no Reggie, no Bill Trinan, none of that stuff. I think that might be gone for good for these types of directs. So first, where do you rank the direct, and then what do you think of them taking out some of the NOA guys?
It's one of the better directs. I have a lot of fun with them. It's hard to rank it because for me it depends on, when you rank a direct. If we're talking overall presentation, it's definitely one of the higher ones. If I'm talking announcements, it kind of fluctuates because it depends on what kind of games you care about. I think as an overall package, though, it's definitely in the higher tier. And as far as them removing Trenton and Reggie in them, it's kind of a mixed bag, because although I find that stuff entertaining, when you get a direct, almost everybody in their seats like, what is new coming from Nintendo? And although the skits and comedy parts are funny, some people are in the back like, get to the fucking games. Like sometimes it feels like it's padding. And I think that's the reason why they're like, well, we need to just cut the bullshit. And having Koizumi out there is good because, once again, new face, people are already adjusting to him. He's still not as quirky as some people would like. I mean, I miss the Iwatism. I mean, the whole staring at the banana thing, I don't think take up a minor sketch wouldn't hurt, but I understand why they take them out. It's primarily because people don't want to see sketches in a news direct, and I think they think that it distracts from the point of the direct, which is to tell you about all this new information about Wii U, 3DS, Switch, all that stuff coming out. So it's disappointing, but I understand it.
And I guess we'll just get into some games because, like I said, I don't want to go recap it because everybody and their brothers talked about it. You know, it's been almost a week. So they got the 3DS stuff out of the way. Anybody have any thoughts on any of the 3DS stuff they want to talk about now? I guess we'll get that out of the way.
I'll just quickly say that I liked it because when they said 45 minutes, I was like, oh man, you're going to get like half an hour of 3DS shit, 20 minutes of Pokemon. I love it. Like, they even rapid fired that a lot of there was some Pokemon. I loved that there were like a buttload of RPGs and all new stuff, and then it was over and it was barely the 10-minute mark. So that's like my thing. I liked it that it was 10 minutes and it was over.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was. That Pokemon stuff to me was, I mean, it means nothing to me because I have no experience with the series.
But it meant less. It meant just about the same to Pokemon fans.
Yeah, that was to me. That was it was pretty.
It was one of the things we stopped and went, well, I guess Sun and Moon's going to be like platinum, like it was like the other games, because for those who don't know, it wasn't up until like Black and White. They were doing like, red, blue, yellow, and yellow literally would be the same game, but it would have a bunch of small enhancements to it.
So that's what I was going to ask you. Are these Ultra ones like new game, like really a new game or not? Is it just more of
I would say, at least based off what we've seen so far, it looks like it's leaning towards like the platinum, meaning it's the same game with some minor improvements versus what we had been getting up until this point, which was actual new stories like Black and White 2 and X and Y didn't even have anything. I guess Black and White 2 would be the best example. Sun and Moon had a lot of potential for it, which is why a lot of people were bummed out because it was so story driven. So it just seems like the same story with some minor changes from what we've seen so far.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing as a non-Pokemon fan still just to hear that.
That was disappointing as a Pokemon fan too.
That's a little bit of a milking that, very popular. Sun and Moon was one of the more popular, if not the most popular Pokemon games in a while. It's like,
Pokemon needs to take a break. I'm gonna just say
don't milk that shit. Don't milk that shit. Take a year off.
That's the sad part. They could seriously re-release the exact same game, and it would sell just as much as the last time they released it.
It's ridiculous. So
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, T, got any 3D stuff or thoughts on any of the 3DS games before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, you can obviously see that the 3DS is winding down. I was happy to see Mario Party the Top 100. I think that's a really cool idea. I realize why it's on 3DS and not Switch. It's the download play. That's why. You can't. You have to ask everybody to buy the game to do that on Switch, and you only need one game cart to have 4 players, I think, on 3DS. So
there's probably no online play, I'm guessing.
There's probably no online play, right?
We don't have enough space on the Switch. That's the other reason, guys.
We'll talk about that after the direct stuff. All right, so just everything Switch related. I'll start and just say it was a bunch of good information. It took my hype level for Xenoblade up, which was already pretty high after Gamescom and E3 and all that. It's like, yep, this looks even better. So at that point, I'm like, it's definitely my most anticipated game. And then I watched like 40 seconds of the Mario Odyssey stuff and seeing all like 2 brand new kingdoms and then hearing them say there's many more and they're not going to spoil. And I turned it off and I'm just like, wow, like that. I don't know what it was, but that Gamescom, that Luncheon Kingdom or whatever, really just dropped my hype level down. It just looked so uninspired to me. But everything else I've seen, that little bit I watched, like erase that, and then now I'm up to almost Breath of the Wild level of hype for Mario. So I'm glad that happened. Now I got 2 games I'm super excited about coming out, and then we got a release date. So for me, like the highlight for me was just seeing Xenoblade Chronicles look so good, and the fact that they detailed the combat in this, and then the Mario Odyssey Kingdoms, finding out there's even more than the 2 leaked ones that we had found out before. So the the third-party announcements to me, like Doom, I already have, and we'll talk a little bit more about those. But for me, those were the highlights. And overall, I thought it was just good games. They showed Kirby again, and there was just it was just a good flow of different and a variety of games. And also Octopath demo was a good announcement. I think that was a good surprise. And we can talk about that game a little bit later if anyone played the demo. So, Retro, what's your take on the Switch stuff? What were your highlights? All that good stuff.
Well, my highlights were like I liked it. Like there was a lot of. That's what I said. Like there's a lot of new stuff, and we got some updates to some old stuff. We got like new release dates. Like there really was everything in it. It wasn't just like like here's Mario Odyssey, here's some Pokken. So like you had like release dates for like Skyrim and release dates for Xenoblade, and like you said, the demo for Project Octopath, and there was so much stuff. I was entertained from beginning to end when it came to the Switch stuff. My highlight would obviously we're gonna get into that later. I guess the Doom and Wolfenstein thing, that was just absolutely like that was like beautiful, But if I had to be honest, like the thing that hit me most is what I was waiting for like 6 months now, that I finally got a decent Xenoblade trailer. I got a trailer with upgraded visuals. I like it. I think they just posted it, even Monolith Soft, I think, on Twitter, like the visual differences and everything. Like there was a graphical update, there was story-related content, there were like character development shit, like better combat, like better vistas, like it looked gorgeous. Like this game is so full. So instantly afterwards, I pre-ordered for $100 the special edition. That's like it literally got my hype to like all the way up there now.
All right. What about anything else stand out to you?
I got a negative. I don't know if you want to go into that or not.
Go ahead.
I am so scared for Kirby because it looked almost worse than last time when we saw it. I feel like I said it from the start. A lot of people disagreed with me when I talked about Kirby the first time. When you see what they're doing with Yoshi and you saw Kirby, it looked not even like a Wii U game. That looked like a Wii game, and I really didn't like that. And they showed more of it, but it looked the same. And I'm not about graphics, but if you take something like Yoshi and afterwards you show Kirby and it looks like this, and game always gets visual upgrades. Like I said, like Xenoblade had an upgrade, like Mario, like 2-3 months, or even Star Fox, it looked different after a couple of months. But it's been like several months since we saw Kirby, and it looked exactly the same. I'm really scared for this game.
Well, that's definitely. I can't agree with it not looking at least like a Wii U game. We'll talk about that. So, T, I don't know if you want to comment on the Kirby thing and then give your highlights of the Switch stuff.
Yeah, Retro Death is crazy. Yeah, I think he went a little too far. I agree that looking at like Yoshi and whatnot, that Kirby doesn't stand up to them as far as visual style. I would like it to have its own visual style. It still has time. We don't know when this thing's coming, do we?
They said early 2018.
Right. So it still has time to get a little polish on that stuff. But, I mean, it's Kirby. Like, most Kirby games, especially like the Super Nintendo era to N64, all had that similar kind of look to them. It wasn't until, like, Epic Yarn you got, like, a dramatic difference in the Kirby game. So I would like it to, like, have a cool art style or something, some kind of pizzazz to it, some kind of visual flair. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's Kirby, and Kirby games are fun as hell to me, so it doesn't matter as much. But yeah, I'm with you on the highlights. I thought Xenoblade Chronicles 2 looked great, and Mario Odyssey. Like I'm gonna do like a mini documentary on Mario Odyssey, basically just going through like the 3D Marios, starting with N64. But I want to get like my versus video out about Banjo-Kazooie versus Mario 64 before I do that. So I want to get it out before the game drops. So gotta hurry up. But yeah, that man, Switch is quickly becoming in contention with like my favorite game console of all time, which is crazy. Being that it's only 7 months old, like I'm already thinking like, man, is this gonna dethrone N64 for me? Because there's so much N64ism on this console right now that it's very possible, you know. So yeah, Odyssey looked amazing. I wanted to look away, but I couldn't.
You watched the whole thing?
I did. But the thing is like I didn't think there was too much. Nothing really like, oh man, I didn't want to see that. Even like the new worlds that we got, you only saw like a little fragment of them, so it didn't really. And they talked about how many moons, possibly like 600 moons or something, and like very much like Mario 64, you go into sub levels and all kinds of stuff in the game. So you're not gonna see any of that stuff. So, and there's still worlds left. I think I'm still gonna have a blast with it. So yeah, Mario Odyssey looked awesome, and then we'll get into Bethesda. Bethesda just owned all third parties on Switch, all the so-called partnerships.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great, man.
I thought of like a minute ago. I thought of something else to like bring up, but Terrell, why don't you get your highlights from for the Switch footage, and I'll see if I can think of what I was gonna say.
I think the best thing about this Direct is that it covered, I would say, everything from current to like near future to like far off future. Like the fact that we had, what was it? And I know we skipped 3DS stuff, but this is something I forgot to mention. We had Minecraft launch that day.
Yeah, Minecraft.
You had the Project Octopath trailer launch. I mean, well, the demo launch that day. Had the ARMS
DLC.
You have the DLC come out that day, and then you're also hearing, oh, well, here's your release date for Skyrim. And you got your release date for I'm trying to think. Well,
Xenoblade.
Yeah, Xenoblade. God, oh my God. Which I heard for I saw like reaction videos, and for some reason people were kind of down on that whole presentation for Xenoblade. I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's just other people.
It's because they didn't play X.
Well, that's true. That's probably true.
The voice acting.
Yeah, people said the voice acting for the that second half was boring, and I was like,
it's a little unexciting. Like
it's a lot better than what it was in fucking E3. I'll say that.
And he was
That's exactly what I meant. Yeah,
he was describing things. It wasn't like he was acting out something exciting. But I did see where they're coming from. But I also thought it was the voice fit perfectly with the design. And I also want to point out the cut scenes of the characters it didn't look so like flat anime. Like they actually had, I don't know, dimension to them, like with shading and stuff. I really thought the character models and the cutscenes they were showing looked freaking fantastic. And let's just say Pyra. If Robert was here, he would be talking about Pyra. So give her a shout out.
But
anyway, go ahead.
I really appreciate that nice mix of here's some stuff out today, here's some stuff in the near future, and here's some stuff you can look forward to like next year. My highlights, the fact that Lynn is Fire Emblem Warriors almost immediately makes that game. I like how the Fire Emblem community collectively went, all right, we got to get the game now. that is a character, especially because if you've even if you haven't played Fire Emblem, Lynn's been a trophy in like Smash Brothers since Brawl, and it's just kind of like, finally she's playable. They've been fucking her over for like over 10 years. So I was like, I appreciated that. So Fire Emblem almost immensely looks a lot better to me. Not just because of the character, I just think the game looks cool anyway. Xenoblade, yes. Odyssey, I am fucking baffled. I am fucking. It's like, and it's weird because we know this to be a fact that Nintendo can make games look better after every trailer, but like the shit that kind of showed up in that new trailer, I'm like, okay, we've seen everything we needed to see. No, shirtless Mario, 10 out of 10.
That's what it was. Nipples.
Look at that, man. People on Twitter were getting stupid. They were like, buff DDD and shirtless Mario, 10 out of 10. And then we had Juice in the chat posting Pyra pictures like, Lola Pop is an ugly bitch, but look at this chick right here. Look at this chick right here.
She's got some curves, man.
Bruh, so I am, man. And then the Octopath demo is lit. Fuck it. I'm so excited for that game now. Fucking, so yeah, good. Oh, and Lola, I've been playing a lot of ARMS because of that shit. Just, I'm fucking happy, man. I'm happy.
I'm a little disappointed in that hardly anybody was playing ARMS right afterwards. And me and you played for a bit, and I went through the Grand Prix once with her on level 4, and I was just like, I was trying to finish Mario plus Rabbids. I told myself I was going to trade it in because I've been disappointed with some of the bugs I've experienced, and it's like, you know what, I'm going to at least get all the challenges done. And of course, had to close the game unexpectedly, so I deleted the download for the update. I reinstalled them. Let's see if that fixes it. I don't know, because I started the game before I updated it. I'm thinking maybe that messed it up, but I wanted to play ARMS more, and it was a little disappointing to see the friends list and hardly anybody. I think you and me were the only ones on ARMS after.
I don't know if I played it right away, but I played it. I think that also added to the hypeness of the Direct, is that there's all this stuff you're going to be able to get and play right after.
It made you want to turn your Switch on immediately. Like,
yeah, it was so cool.
Some people were saying, it was a little boring, and you got Mohammed in here. Just like I said, people didn't play Xenoblade Chronicles X. Those are the people who thought the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 stuff went on for too long.
Right.
Because I'm just like totally into like, okay, what are the changes here? How does the the blades and the arts work this time and all that? Like, I was just 100% in. Like, I was so interested in finding out more about the combat system. After
I like that because of now you said that, yeah, because in X, like, I love how insanely deep and intricate the whole armor system went, but I felt like it was a bit overkill. I like it how in this game they kind of lightened up on that, and they added this whole extra dimension to the battle system itself. Like I really like that.
Yeah, it's not like it's Forza 7 and there's absolutely nothing new except for visual improvements, you know? So there's actually stuff you need to know. There's a lot of new depth, and they changed up the combat system, you know. They've changed the game quite a bit, so that stuff's interesting to me. It's not your typical sequel. You know, some sequels, they do make vast improvements, but for me, it's like, this look, especially compared to the first Xenoblade Chronicles, it's like, yeah, this looks, I love how this is looking, so I can't wait to play it. And yes, that was a shot at an Xbox fanboy who's in live chat, so that's all you got.
You fucking savage.
That's all you got is Forza. But anyway,
it is a racer, Grant. I mean, it's not a whole lot you can do.
I know, but that's the big game for the Xbox One X for the holidays. I mean,
no, it ain't shit, dude.
Pretty sad, but anyway.
You get Forza every year. They ain't nothing new.
Yeah.
You need like 4 switches to store that shit on.
Hey man, it's all about that 4K.
So Mario nipples.
That's not what we call it.
That was funny. I love the internet. Really, sometimes just comes through and brightens your day. And all the memes, all the pictures. Sean Long, I don't know if he put it together, but he definitely shared one where Mario's always had circles in that same spot. It was always the buttons of his overalls. Like even in the first game, if you look, like he's always kind of had nipples this whole time, and we didn't know it. We didn't realize what they were trying to do.
He never took his shirt off. He didn't want the ladies to hurt themselves.
But yeah, the buttons are in the exact spot.
You said Sean Long. Did you mean what's his name from IGN?
It was Sean Long who shared it where I saw it, and he didn't.
Oh, okay.
He didn't retweet it. It was like his post, so I was like, did he come up with this? So I don't know.
That was brilliant.
It was brilliant. And it's true. Like they are right in the same spot. So
like I left out Mario Sunshine.
Yeah.
That trash.
Right, because the jetpack straps were covering the buttons.
Oh yeah, that was the other cool thing. How like the Odyssey stuff, they even show references to like in that Soda Water Kingdom. There's like a reference to Sunshine in it. Yeah. With the little jetpack where he's running on water and shit.
What was that in?
Yeah, I love that stuff.
That was in Odyssey. That was in like the Soda.
Oh, really?
Yeah, was it Lakeside or something?
Yeah, it's like Lakeside something. But like he gets like a jetpack and he's like running on water and shit.
Running on water, just like Mario Sunshine, which
it's the worst game ever.
That gave me great memories, I must say.
That's definitely the worst of the 3D Mario games. I mean,
that's like your echoes. I love Sunshine, man. It's not like it's my second favorite. I think Galaxy 1 is better, but in Sunshine, oh man, you had such freedom of movement. Like I
did like the jetpack movement, but there's a lot of frustrating.
That camera, man. God damn.
And then when they take the pack away and then the flood away, and you're just like, oh, Mario moves way faster than he's ever done before, and you got these ridiculously rotating platforms where sometimes you can walk on this angle and other times you slip right off for no reason.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to stop. It's like it's on skates sometimes.
But anyway, we ain't gonna get into that. Yeah. I wouldn't even known about the whole beach world if it wasn't for the Mario Nipples post, which Nintendo officially posted screenshots. And that world looks, I didn't see it in motion, so I can't say, but it looks beautiful in that screenshot. And I was just like, they definitely bumped the visuals. That was in the live stream. To me, that game stood out the most as like obviously that they're up streaming it in 60 frames per second, which they never really didn't do before, I think, till this E3. You could tell like the difference. You could take that game with its level of detail at 60, and then I can watch videos of Knack. And I don't know if Knack runs at 60, but it was a video. It was in 30 frames per second video of gameplay, and
I think it runs 30 frames on the base.
And I'm like, fucking Mario Odyssey looks to me undoubtedly better in almost every way, and it's 60 frames per second. Like, that just really impressed me.
And it's 30 gigs less than that linear.
It's 5.7 gigs
versus 36 gigs.
Yeah.
That is nuts.
I don't know. I can't even believe they made a sequel. I didn't even know it was. Like, I thought it came out like a month ago, and then now I'm like, is it even out? I don't even know if
It's out now. Yeah.
Okay, it's out now. It's just
It's doing really well.
Why are you saying
oh, they'll bundle it.
It's doing really well.
They'll bundle it over the holidays. It'll be a 5 million seller by
Oh
time.
God.
It'll be bundled with PS4 Pro and the PlayStation Slim. But anyway, let's get on to the Bethesda, because for me, I'm split and I see two sides. I understand the significance of it for Nintendo and Bethesda to be working together. I understand that's a big deal. I loved Doom. I have it on the PC. I got it for $35 on Steam. Late 2016. When did that come out? May 2016, I think. And I got it like November or December 2016 for like $35 on Steam. And I really love the game, so I'm excited for Nintendo fans that didn't play it to be able to play it. And then Wolfenstein 2 for me, I understand, this is a big deal because they don't work together, and Bethesda and Nintendo working together is a good sign for third parties. But for me, like, other than Doom, Bethesda's like C tier developer for me. So I wasn't like, I'm like, they're like with Ubisoft.
I feel like you actively hurt Retro with that statement.
They're like, to me, they're Ubisoft. They're above EA, but they're like, I would say Ubisoft, Activision, kind of. That's where I have them, because their games don't appeal to me, and the gameplay is what doesn't work for me, and then the bugginess. So, but anyway, I didn't know Wolfenstein 2. I thought that game came out years ago. I knew that they remade it, and my buddy has it on PC.
You're thinking of the first one.
But he was telling me he was going to get the second one, and I don't know if there was an expansion on PC he was talking about. So I was just like, oh, another old game. So I didn't even know it was a new game until later. But for me, like, I understand it's a big deal, but I mean, if I didn't have Doom, I'd be more excited. I really don't. I didn't think Wolfenstein was even a franchise people cared about anymore. So I was a little bit torn there. So I guess we'll go to Retro next, because I know he's watches Bethesda's press conference every year. He loves them. So why don't we go to you, get the opposite take? As
you got him
you tried to crush that
now.
Man's heart, man. That's what you tried to do.
He's bleeding over there right now.
Yeah, I know. How could you, man?
No, it's like, I can understand when you say it, like, because you don't like the type of games they release, so it makes sense. But Bethesda, for me, man, they're all the way up there. They don't like, okay, let's say you take Capcom, and what they're doing for the Switch, you get port after port.
Capcom is like a
port after 3DS port, like, it's so bullshit. And then you have Bethesda, whose games I already love. I absolutely love the Elder Scrolls. I love Fallout. I love everything they're doing. They're doing such good shit. I think the company themselves, they're always so great. And then you have to take into account, like, even if because I don't give a shit about Wolfenstein. But I'm really excited about Doom. I've been wanting to buy it for so long on PC, but I needed to get a new PC, which I'm only getting in a few months. So I still didn't do that. So now, like, fuck it, I'm getting it on the Switch because you get it in a portable. But it's not just that. You have Capcom doing all these ports, and you have Bethesda, who has never really done anything with Nintendo before. And they're redoing, like, Skyrim for the Switch. They have, like, Doom there. You're going to get Wolfenstein via them. It's like, there's so much shit. And they didn't decide this last minute. They had all this faith in the Switch already, way before. And that's what we've always been talking about. It's like, people like Capcom or EA, they're not even trying. Even now that it's selling, they're not trying. And Bethesda, who has never been there before, who didn't have the Wii to go, people love doing that shit. Like, no, but it didn't sell on the Wii U, but it sold on the Wii, so now this shouldn't come because they take that. No, Bethesda is fuck it. They never release anything. They have nothing to go off, and they're releasing almost every fucking game they have on the Switch. It's insane. I love how much effort they're putting into it. So I can't wait till they're going to do Fallout 4, because it's obviously going to do it. And by the fact that they're doing all this shit for the Switch, it's obvious to me that the next game they're going to be working on is going to come. Because people have no arguments anymore. You have Wolfenstein, which is like brand spanking fucking new. And that like, it's over. Like, nobody has anything to say anymore, because that's something people love. Oh, Skyrim is 6 years old. Well, this version of Skyrim is literally like a year old. And then they say Doom, and people get excited for Doom. Oh, but Doom is a couple of months old. Okay, good. I have Wolfenstein. Shut the fuck up. It's over.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to find out when, like, if Wolfenstein comes out in February, I think, but if that don't come out till like summer 2018, I think a lot of the excitement for it's going to be kind of gone by then, and I think it would be, like the excitement would be there in January, February, but I think it starts getting March, April, May, doesn't come out very quick. Then I think that's kind of going to be. I think the air is going to be let out of that excitement. So, God, I just had another thought too, but I'm going to go to T, get your take, and then I'll see if I can remember the point I was going to make.
What is the question specifically?
Well, just, I guess I remembered. I didn't want to leave out the fact that this does put the other third-party companies to shame. So in that regard, that's why I said I understand it's a big deal. It makes the other companies, because a lot of gamers think Bethesda's up there. I know I'm one of the few that doesn't. So it does put Activision, EA, makes them look bad, which I do like. I like that it made EA and Activision look bad, because I think they already look bad to me, but this really made them look bad. So your take on Bethesda's support, showing Doom, and what was your reaction when you seen it? I was giddy when I saw Doom, just because I knew the impact of a third party game like that coming to Switch, and I didn't like verbally predict it recently, but I had said it in the past that I thought Doom should come when we were talking about Skyrim back around E3 and stuff. So anyway, your reaction to Doom and Wolfenstein, and what do you think it means for the Switch?
Yeah, well, way back when the Switch was first revealed in that little trailer, they showed Skyrim. That's when I believe we had a Juicy Loop podcast about it, and I was like, I feel like Doom is coming. So when I saw that, I was just like, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait even longer, because I was gonna get Doom on PC, and I was just like, I'm gonna wait. And then months went by, and other games would be being played, like we've got Zelda and stuff, so it didn't bother me as much. And I'm gonna wait. And then the balls, the balls on Bethesda, like, wow. Like, we knew about Skyrim basically from the beginning, even though it wasn't a surefire announcement of it. We pretty much knew that was coming. But to talk about Skyrim basically the whole year, we all know that's coming. And then, oh yeah, at almost the last minute, oh yeah, we got Doom 2. What?
And it's this year.
It's this year. And it's like, what? The balls. Like, you're going to release Skyrim, which I'm sure you want to sell, and you're going to release Doom in its proximity, like, in the same year. Like, to me, like, I like Bethesda, but I pretty much only care for two of their franchises, one being Elder Scrolls and the other being Doom. And I'm an Elder Scrolls guy. I go back to Morrowind, probably.
Yes.
Yeah, Morrowind on Xbox original is when I got in to the Elder Scrolls series. So I've always liked the Elder Scrolls series, Skyrim, obviously, and Oblivion. So to me, I was already in. Like, having that on the go, like, that's crazy to me, to be able to have a game that size, that impactful. And then Doom, like I said, I waited for Doom. So that was a huge thing for me. I was like, I feel vindicated almost. Like, even though it wasn't a prediction, I just felt like it was coming. I don't know why. I just felt like it was coming. Because Doom had been on Nintendo consoles before, unlike Skyrim. So I was like, they're going to give us Skyrim. They got to give us Doom. That was my thinking. So.
Yeah, and I think I said that's the game I wish they would have brought instead of Skyrim.
Yeah. So it was cool to see that. And then, like, they announced Wolfenstein. It's like, what? What is going on? And I'm not like a huge fan of Wolfenstein. I used to play the old ones back in the day on PC. And I think Super Nintendo. Yeah. But that was forever ago, so I'm not like, but I heard that the new one, the one that came out, what was a couple of years ago now? I heard a lot of people really like that. So
yeah,
I planned on,
is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. I had planned on getting it at some point, and I'm going to definitely go back and get it now. But to hear that was coming out, and again, I felt vindication, because I had done a video like a few days prior to the direct, where I was like, I see the Switch being able to do any current gen game that's out right now, and then boom, they vindicate me. So I'm like, see, I told you. And so it's more about like the optics than it is some of the actual games. Like I don't like. I know Bethesda's a good developer. They have some bug issues in their games, notorious for that. But I mean, I know their games are good, and it's more about the optics of wow, Bethesda. Bethesda's never supported an NES or a Nintendo console, I think, since like the NES, and that doesn't really count. It was like that was crazy. So I was blown away by that. And then, like you said, it put these other companies on notice. Oh, we're just gonna put this bullshit out and see how it does, and then we'll decide on what we're gonna do. Bethesda knew before the Switch was gonna be a thing. I mean, I guess they felt like they knew when it was revealed to him, because remember Todd Howard was like gushing over the thing, like he was blown away by it. So maybe that to see,
that was him, wasn't it?
Yeah, to see him have that much confidence in it before anybody even knew what the thing was, and be able to put these games out. These games are obviously in development before the Switch was selling like gangbusters. That was confidence that I didn't see in these other big companies like EA and Activision, and so that's why I was, floored by it. So, yeah.
That's also the thing, because what I hated about what I said about Rockstar is, no, you do not buy L.A. Noire to get GTA. You buy GTA to get GTA. And Bethesda isn't like, no, maybe if you guys buy Skyrim, you got everything instantly. Fuck that shit. And that's how it should work.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, like I said, I think last podcast, L.A. Noire is more interesting to me because I never played it, and I just never want to play GTA 5 again. So it's like
trauma.
But I think here's the thing I didn't mention. I guess I was alluding to is that like these other guys have a track record with Nintendo, and Bethesda really doesn't. Like for the most part, like I said, it wasn't like they haven't had anything in forever. And, we're talking NES, which I said doesn't really count. And for them to like have this much confidence in the thing, where these other guys who have made money on Nintendo consoles in the past and just be pussyfooting, and I was just it's just like, what is going on here? Like, and that's why I was more excited about it.
And it's like I've tried to say. Remember when I think OJ was making the point that developers got burned on the Wii U, and I'm just like, I'm looking at Call of Duty sales of 350,000 at $60 a pop. I know there was price drops and stuff, but if the game cost $1 million to port on the Wii U and Call of Duty sold that many, it was like, I forget the average, what I figured, like 8 to 10 million they made on that. Like, I'm wondering what it costing to port Skyrim and Doom.
They didn't advertise any of that shit. Like there was no advertising cost for those ports.
So I'm wondering what games like these Bethesda games are costing them to port, and we're assuming that I think Doom's confirmed to be 60. I'm guessing Wolfenstein will definitely be 60.
Yeah. Oh, it's confirmed?
Yeah, I thought someone said their pre-orders were up for 60, but I didn't see it myself. But
oh, okay.
So I would think anywhere above 200,000-300,000 for an older game, even though Skyrim remaster or the newest one sold over 1 million copies on the Xbox and PS4. I would got to think they're going to make money. 500,000, I think, would probably be a pretty big success. But let's go to Terrell.
Nintendo's publishing it though, and Nintendo's paying for part of it.
For Skyrim, yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
for Skyrim, we don't know about
Skyrim. Yeah, I don't think Doom, but
I wouldn't think Doom. I would probably think that's Bethesda giving a little bit of faith.
It's going to sell. Trust me, Doom is going to sell.
Well, Doom, I feel like Doom and Wolfenstein work because they have Nintendo-like history. So I mean,
right.
Yeah, Doom 64. If anybody watched Digital Foundry's retro video on the Doom on consoles, that was an hour long, but it's worth watching.
I haven't seen that. I'm gonna watch that.
They didn't include Doom 64. They mentioned it because it was a fully original game. But seeing like how bad it ran on the set, like it was very interesting. So definitely should check that out.
I skimmed through it, especially because I wanted to see the 64 part, and I was like for an hour, I could have watched the whole fucking thing. The time it took me to notice there wasn't a 64 version in it.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting hearing about how they took the Jaguar version and ported it to the Saturn like super fast. And
did they talk about? Because I think the European. I don't know if they didn't talk too much about the 64 one, right? You said.
All he said was it was definitely the best console Doom
Yeah,
game.
yeah. I think, and of that, I think the European version was the definitive one, because I think they had the blood, and because some versions didn't have that. I think the Japanese version had like green blood or something.
Yeah, I know the Game Boy Advance one had green blood, but
Yeah.
so Terrell, what was your initial reaction seeing Doom and Wolfenstein? 'Cause I'm pretty sure you never played Doom, and I don't know what your take is on first person shooters like that anyway, but what was your reaction and how do you feel about its impact on the Switch?
I'll put it this way. The same week we got a Kami HD announcement that wasn't coming to the Switch. We got a fucking Doom and Wolfenstein announcement. I was floored. And to be fair, just to kind of give my thoughts on those kind of games, I've actually played Wolfenstein. I've never played Doom before. Although I played Wolfenstein on the PC when I was younger. I'm not a fan of first-person shooters. I feel like I'm trading a first-person view for like proper maneuverability, but that's just a personal thing with me. Which is ironic because Doom would probably be the one I'm most interested in out of the two. Primarily just because we haven't technically seen Switch footage of Wolfenstein 2 yet, so that's part of the reason. It floored me just primarily because it's Bethesda. Because this is the same company that like a few years ago was shit talking Wii U in like the worst of ways.
Oh yeah.
With that whole Fallout 4, that Pit Boy thing that was on your phones, like here's your true second screen gaming, and Nintendo fans were like, you can eat a dick on that one. So like it floored me that we went from them shit talking, like throwing shade at the Wii U to here's 3 games, one of which isn't even out, period. And you're just kind of like, well, that's shocking. It's also really fucking sad when I can turn my head and look in the other direction, go Capcom. Are you at least gonna localize Monster Hunter Double Cross? I don't know. Maybe
Pathetic.
possibly. So it pisses me off. And if the rumor as far as Doom's release date is like December 13th, and then supposedly there's been some preview events for it because GameSpot, I think, posted on Twitter a picture of them playing it, saying that they would have.
I don't know, GameSpot. You're right.
Yeah, I had it right. Damn it!
I fucked that up.
But they posted a picture saying they would have impressions soon, so I'm looking forward to hearing that just to see how well it runs. That's saying a lot. The fact that you'll have 2 Bethesda games out within a month of each other, because you got Skyrim for November and Doom for December, supposedly. I am very happy to see them, of all companies, take that risk. And the only thing I think we know we're missing from Doom is the level editor. I think that's the only thing I've heard about us not getting.
And as someone who owns it on PC and knows people that have it, no one plays the multiplayer. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Maybe on the Switch because there's nothing else close.
Yeah, I've never heard of anyone talk about the multiplayer.
No one plays the multiplayer.
Everybody talks about the single player, and that's it. That's all I ever hear about.
So, all right.
But yeah, it was a really cool announcement. I appreciate the faith, and Doom is probably the closest one I'm looking to buy because I never cared about Skyrim in the first place.
Yeah,
well, you can see the sad and pathetic state of it, though. Like what Terrell said, like you're gonna get like Doom and Wolfenstein and Skyrim, and they're going all out. And meanwhile, you have people, they basically have to beg a company for a fucking 3DS port. It's like, what is that?
No, a localized 3DS port.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Yeah,
we didn't get Double Cross on the 3DS, did we? In the US?
No.
So
we didn't even. We're not getting shit.
I wouldn't expect that.
I mean,
but
that's the thing. They're not even asking for World. It's like it's barely any effort.
Well, think about it, because the other issue is that even something like Monster Hunter Stories that's being published by Nintendo, so Capcom didn't even bring that game over, and that was just a 3DS game. We can't even get 3DS localization anymore. That's why that game is in. That's why that game has Japanese voice acting and and you have just English subtitles.
Well, at least
that's like Atlas level of shit.
At least they're not burning the U.S. market out with a new Monster Hunter every 8 to 10 months. Like, to me, I'm glad. I'm not a fan of, I don't play them, but it's more meaningful when it's a couple years in between, because Japan's getting burnt out. If you look at the sales, they're getting burnt out, and they're really milking the shit out of that. And it's Capcom, so they're gonna do that. But
the problem is that they're sitting there saying, well, we're going to base the sales in the Japanese market on whether or not we keep supporting it. And we're like, you've been burning us out on the franchise, and you're going to use the latest game to test your theory about the sales? Like,
and that just came out on the 3DS, and like I said, it didn't light the world on fire compared to like Monster Hunter 4.
No.
So, and I mean, everyone's talking, you know, about that, but what Capcom games do you really care? I mean, what do you really want? There's nothing, in my opinion. So
I'm gonna pull a Mr. T here. There was a video I posted. I think it was like a few days ago, mentioning this. There was like 5 titles that I think off the top of my head that would have made the most sense, because I didn't necessarily like Monster Hunter Worlds when I first saw the E3. The Gamescom footage looks good. The game has looked good since E3. That was one. I know Street Fighter is technically a Sony exclusive, but exclusives mean nothing to most of these companies anymore. That's 2. You could have gave us Resident Evil 7. You could have gave us Marvel's Capcom Infinite. No matter how I personally feel about that game, that is a new game you could have released. And and then obviously localize your fucking game that you put out, Monster Hunter. Christ. I feel like I might be missing one, but that's
well, the thing for me with Capcom is like, it's not even all the standard shit. They own so many franchises. They're just pissing away. They
Konami. That's
anything with it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of dead ones. But anyway,
Capcom's been. It's not about, because Capcom has been trash for a long time. It's not about that. It's about like what Terrell was saying. It's not that I really need these games or care for these games. I was just thinking what makes the most sense for the Switch at this time, and I was one of the guys that was from the beginning, before, you know, even that whole Capcom helped or told Nintendo to put more RAM in the Switch.
That started to look more and more like BS.
Yeah, it looks more and more like BS. But I was, even before that, I was saying that I feel like Resident Evil 7 is coming, and then they had the opportunity to do that with the Gold Edition or whatever they're doing. Mm-hmm. That could have been the opportunity to release the one for Switch, and nothing. Like so far, even to this day, we have Ultra Street Fighter 2. That's it. Like, and then they're gonna release the 3DS game and a 3DS upscaled remake, or not remake. Yeah, I guess, you know, port, and that's it for the year. Like, that's what you're gonna do, like, on a new console. Like, but again, they've done that. They did that on PS4. They've just been trash for the longest, and it's just like, I don't really care that much about, you know, because they're not going to give you the games you want. They're not going to give you those storied franchise games. They don't have the teams for it anymore. A lot of those people are just gone, and so they're not going to give you that stuff. And so the only thing I would care about is like Monster Hunter Worlds at this point. And
they showed a new trailer at the Sony thing, and it looked like a lot better from what I glanced. But anyway, let's not talk about Capcom anymore.
Let's not waste any more time on the trash.
But I won't feel genuine if I didn't bring up this and play devil's advocate to what we were just talking about with Bethesda. There is one part of this that has me more so than anyone else that I've gathered. I got a huge concern moving forward with the Switch and third parties. And I want to set it up by saying, first off, like, I have a PS4, so I understand the whole, well, you're buying it physical, but you're still installing it. You know, I accept that, and I bought 7 or 6 physical games on the PS4. So to me, I accept that. Where I draw the line, and I brought up Forza 7 earlier, and I think Halo 5 did this, and I don't know if Gears of War 4, is when the whole game isn't on that disc or the physical media, and then, you know, you have to download any amount, doesn't matter if it's 1 gig or 20 gigs. So I always think about the future, like when you want to go back and play those games, that's assuming you didn't, you know, everything's digital in the future, and you somehow have Microsoft, if they're still doing games and stuff, like, oh, you can track you bought this. But if you think about putting a game disc in or a cartridge in 10 years down the line, when servers are out, you know, downloading the rest of the game is no longer available. To me, that's where I draw the line. And I just know that if I can't download or something, if I'm ever in a point, or like I said, Sony turns off the servers, Xbox, Nintendo, for getting the rest of the game, you're left with basically nothing. You're left with a worthless piece of plastic. So that's where I draw the line. And I mean, we can have a friendly debate.
Can I go first on this? Because
yeah, I just wanted to set it up where for
Yeah.
me, I'm concerned about the third-party games, the file sizes, and the new trend of the rest of the game having to be downloaded, even with the cartridge. T, why don't you give your take? Because I know you and OJ kind of just blew it off, like, well, PlayStation 4.
I didn't really
games-
elaborate it the way I wanted to, but yeah. So now I have the opportunity to do that.
Exactly.
Obviously, I guess my argument during his live stream was basically, well, it's still better, but let me elaborate on that. First of all, we're talking sports games. I'm 100% with you when you're talking about, in 10 years, if you know me, that's
yeah,
I
I'm
care about
referring
that
to
stuff.
Doom. Doom's
Right.
confirmed to have some of the game download. Well, they
Well, the
said
whole
just the
game.
multiplayer.
Yeah, the only thing that's not going to be on there multiplayer, which is, to me, that's fantastic.
But
That's
I'm-
good enough for me.
Yeah,
But what I'm saying is I'm 100% with you. 10 years down the line, I want to be able to pop my game in. But I'm not going to do that with NBA 2K17.
yeah, that's. I was going
Like,
to
that's-
leave that one.
Sports games, that's not going to be an issue for me. So for me, how I feel about this is that right now, I'm giving 2K a pass. Because first of all, obviously they're bringing out games day and date. Yeah, there's some issues with it where you can only get the digital for 2K. I understand that. I'm giving them growing pain pass on the Switch because I felt like they really worked hard on this game and they just, they did their best to get it out in time. So next year, 2K18 better be on the damn
19.
cart, or 2K19 better be on the damn cart, or we're gonna have a problem then, because you have enough time at this point to put out a port or put out the game on Switch where you should be able to work out those issues. And I think the bigger carts, that's another thing. I feel like the carts are more expensive right now. I think a year from now they'll be cheaper and you can get more stuff, and maybe they'll work out the compression a little better. I think all those issues, I said it before, I think most of these issues that we're having with the carts and games being partially on the cart and partially download is an early Switch cart situation problem. I don't think we'll have this problem next year. I use the example of N64. The first N64 carts were only 8 megabytes, and they ended up with 64 at the end.
I thought they had 256 for Resident Evil.
No, you're thinking about it's megabytes and megabits. I think it was 256 megabits.
Well, I know that
Nuances with that.
Ocarina of Time was a 64, whatever.
Yeah.
And then Resident Evil.
That
But
was
anyway,
the year Resident Evil came out. Was the
just
year.
before you finish, I do want to
Remember
point
so
out
much.
that maybe by this time next year, but we're going to get I think we're going to get a lot of third-party games between now and then. And
That is true.
Wolfenstein 2, I don't think it's going to be figured out by then. And
Yeah.
I think
And I'm going to mostly pass on games that do that, because especially for a game where, like I said, a sports game, I'm not so worried about it because I'm not going to go back to NBA 2K18 10 years from now. It's just, I'm sure it's a good game, but it's not going to be that good where like,
you'll have
man,
another one.
exactly. That's the point. That's the point I'm making with the sports games. So that's why I'm giving them a bigger pass than I would anybody else. But, damn, what was my point? Yeah. So the growing pains I'm more happy that they were able to get this game out on time with everybody else's, so you'll have that parity there, and it seems like it's doing well. I've seen a lot of people on my friends list playing it. Obviously they only have the downloaded version, and there's always an issue with that, but where you can't download that thing later if the servers are gone and all that kind of stuff. But again, sports game, I'm not worried about that. But games that may come out between now and that time period where the carts are cheaper, and it's like the single player, no, I can't do that. That was one of my worries about Lego City Undercover. Remember, we were worried about that, and it turned out not to be the case.
Remember they had that box there that said that you had to download.
Yeah, it was confusing. So I'm not going to accept that on a single player situation where it's a game like that. If I have to download some of the single player no, I'm not doing that. That's why I'm giving Doom a pass, because it's only the multiplayer. And in 10 years, I'm going to care about the multiplayer for Doom. That's not going to be a thing.
Because who you're not. It's already going to be servers going to be offline anyway for the multiplayer. So who cares if you can't download
Right.
the multiplayer?
So that's why, again, I'm trying to use nuance with with each case, and where I'm with you, of course, I want it all to be on the damn card.
Well, let me ask you this: let's say Skyrim is Nintendo's publishing it, so they'll probably eat the cost. But let's say Skyrim is you have to download 6 gigs for the game's unplayable with just the card without a download. Let's just say, or Wolfenstein 2. Unplayable with just the card, or it's basically a demo where you can play like the first level or something ridiculous. How do you feel about that? If that we don't know, they haven't announced that. They haven't announced FIFA. They haven't announced Skyrim. 2 games I kind of have suspicion might be like that.
Skyrim shouldn't be, because Skyrim, I believe, fit on an Xbox 360 disc, just one, unless you got like the legendary.
Yeah, they did add all the contents, all the
right. But I'm saying that's 8 gigs though. That's 8 gigs. So, what, you're gonna give it another maybe 8 gigs? And if Nintendo's publishing, they better be able to put out a 16 gig cart.
How big is it on a PlayStation and Xbox?
It's gonna be bigger because of the
huge on those
textures.
And the textures, and they have uncompressed audio that they use on those versions, so that Nintendo gets rid of that stuff. So it should be able to fit on a cart. If it doesn't, it's not ain't no purchase for me. Like, because that's a game that needs to be playing on the cart that I can go back to in 10 years and not worry about, is my hard drive corrupted, or is my card corrupted and the servers are gone for it. Like, no, that a game like that needs to be a physical game, because it's not an online game. It's a single player big experience.
Apparently the PS4 version of the special edition was 20 gigs, so I would think the Switch could
so that's
get it down. But that's if they decide to use a 16 gig card. They could be like NBA and use the 8 gig.
And if Nintendo was publishing, they better have that on a cart, all that on a cart.
All right, so let's get the other 2 guys in here. Retro, some of this is speculation, obviously. I would bet money that Wolfenstein 2 is not all going to fit on a card. But I don't know that for a fact. We don't know about Skyrim for sure. I don't know about FIFA. We don't know about LA Noire. Or LA Noire is $10 more, so really hope that's all on a card. So let's say that the norm for third parties moving forward is you buy it physical, and then you'll have to download a portion of the game to complete the game, the 100% version of the game, whether it's an online mode or whether it's actually part of the story. How would you feel about that? Would you be in support of that? So go ahead.
Okay, like earlier, T disagreed with me, and I'm 100% against what he's saying right now. Let's say, okay, you're dating this chick, right? And this chick, she's making you the grossest fucking meal in your life. It is so disgusting. She asks you, how is this meal? You don't want to hurt her feelings, 2K, they worked on NBA. It looks kind of nice, I don't want to hurt their feelings. You say, nah, it's good food, Next fucking date, she's making you this exact same fucking dish again, and you're going to have to eat it because you accepted it, because you complimented her on it. I cannot accept physical media to be split in an unplayable way. What they're doing with Doom, I accept it. I like it. Okay, give me the full game. Let me download multiplayer. Whatever. I can live with that. I can play the game. It's a full game. Who really cares about the multiplayer? Whatever. You can split it. But you cannot split a media in half when it's a physical media that I cannot play it. I do not understand it, and we shouldn't accept it. Sure, maybe next year is going to be better. But if everybody buys this shit, nobody puts them on the spot for it, they're going to do it more. And other people will do it more. And I cannot have it. As a collector, as a retro gamer, I cannot have that. Physical media is supposed to be physical media. I'm even more confused because from what I gathered, the game is like, what, 20 gigs or something? NBA?
25, yeah.
From what I understood, Dragon Quest Heroes is on a 32 gig card. The game, there's no need for it to split it. If you split it intelligently, like with Bethesda, with Doom, that I can still play it. I can never accept this, and it's going to create, like you said, Juice, it's going to create massive problems in the future if people will just accept it just once.
Can I cut in real quick? Just because you said, I knew you were going to bring up Dragon Quest Heroes. Everybody brings it. That is a way different game. I don't know if you've ever. I'm sure you played sports games before, and I just think that because you got all these weird modes, and like I said, I think they had to fast track the Switch version NBA 2K18 to get it on time. They could have just, it's going to come out blah 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 next year or something, and then if it did that, it had better be on the cart. I think they just wanted to get this game out on time with everybody else, so it would have parity. And the intricacy of sports games, they have all these different modes. This is the case on disc versions too. Like, this isn't anything specific to the cart version. I just think this particular case is different. If it comes out next year, don't buy the shit. Like, I'm not gonna buy it. Like, I feel like I said, this is a growing pain issue. If you don't have it fixed next year, I won't buy it.
Yeah, give them one chance.
Yeah, this is their one chance. And I'm only doing it because this is a sports title. And I'm not going to go back to this game in 10 years, so it doesn't bother me as much. But if they do it,
a sports title, but it's not like when you have a sports title and a first-person shooter. A gig is a different concept, you know.
But you can't split up the basketball game. What are you going to do? Have half the players? Like, you can't really split that up in a good way.
Prepare we have bigger cards, you know. You can work with it, or worst case, you don't release it now. And you release it next year, the next game when it is, or like, I do not like I understand what he's coming from, and sure, like, you can do it now and maybe next, but I do not want to give a company even once the option to do this, because it is a ridiculous concept. I feel it is extremely stupid. Like, worst case, you know how I would have accepted this? Don't release it physical.
Yeah,
just
that was what I was just going to say.
And then, sure, then next year release it physical. This half and half bullshit.
Why does that even make any difference? Like,
well, to me,
because it's physical media. You're a collector like me.
It's the same cost.
Media. But the reason price. I wanted to chime in on this one because here's the issue. Because I mean, it's the same thing with PlayStation 4 games and Xbox One games, where essentially you're not buying the game, you're just buying a key.
Well, it's different because you can be offline and install a PS4 game as long as the whole game's on the disc. Like, it's still a key, but the whole game's there. Like, we're talking about the rest of the game having, like, Forza 7, where 50 gigs on top of the 50 gig disc, you don't have the whole game. So to me, it's a separate issue than having basically a download key versus.
But he just said why not just buy the digital? Then just buy the digital. You don't have to buy the physical copy.
I agree, though.
That's not an issue.
There's no reason, the way they're doing it, in my opinion, there's absolutely no reason for the physical, except for Best Buy Gamers Club. I get a 20% discount. There's absolutely no reason to even.
The reason for the physical is because for one, people still like physical media, and then two, because like you were about to say, the discounts don't work. That's one of the reasons why I decided not to go digital with the PlayStation, because even though I'm still downloading a game and I'm still wasting hard drive space, I would have to spend $60 instead of spending like the 50 or maybe 45.
I mean, who's bad?
But that's what you're saying.
Oh, to them, it's
retro friends because I cut them off. So,
it's what you're. I just mean what Darrell's saying now is because people like physical media. I love physical media. Like I'm a collector. Physical media is my shit. This game, it's not physical media. The game simply isn't there. So just release it digital. Don't do this physical bullshit. And like T said, if next year they can do it, then you do it. They can't. They simply, no matter how people bring or twist this, they cannot do it if they don't use bigger cards. So just don't, because this is not physical media. There's a box on the shelf, but the game isn't in it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like I said, we don't have to debate if you disagree.
How big is the game? It's
25 gigs.
Right. And so they don't want to charge $10 over a $60 game.
Yeah, because they know they won't make any money there.
That's basically what it comes down to. They're like, all right, this is our go-between. To not have to charge $10 more for this game, that's definitely not going to sell on Switch.
Lesser of two evils.
Yeah, but I'll say you're just picking which one what would you rather have? A game that's $10 upcharge or a game that you have to halfway download?
Right. And I like I said, I like things, and Juice made the perfect point. You can get a discount on the physical one, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my Amazon discount or whatever.
That's really the only, in my opinion, that's the only reason to buy physical of this, because, I mean, it just seems clustered to have.
It doesn't work like that in Europe, though. There's no random discount.
Yeah, if you don't get discounts,
it's going to be the same price.
Then to me, like, they might as well. And I doubt they make the physical version because they know people get discounts. They do it because they know people buy physical more. That's the only reason.
That's the point Juice is trying to make.
That's why people still buy Blu-rays and DVDs and whatnot.
Because that's why you brought it like that. It sets a really dangerous precedent, and I don't want to give anybody even one step towards that direction. Even if they're going to take that half a step back next year, I don't want anybody to take half that step. Because like I said, it is not physical media. Just don't release it physical, release it digital. That is the only option for this, I feel.
And in retro, I understand, because essentially what you have is like a zero tolerance. Like, you're just not going to put up with that shit because you know what it could potentially lead into. The problem is, zero tolerance tends to work better when you're in a position of power.
Right.
You're like we're not in a position of power right now.
Well, let me ask you this, Terrell.
Not in that sense, anyway.
Terrell, if there wasn't the discount, what is the advantage of having the physical version of NBA 2K18?
It depends on. See, the problem is we don't know what the physical. We'll know in October what it's like to just have the cart. I'm going to use Doom as the example because Doom is the only example we have of this situation so far. If it's like Doom, where the multiplayer is the only thing, I don't really give a shit at that point. Even for that, I don't care as much. So
you're saying
if I could play the single player on the cart, I don't care as much.
So you think all the teams, all the players fit in that 6 gigs, and then it's just the different modes that are 16 gigs? Because to me,
I'm curious. I think it's probably not every mode. I'm betting it's probably like some of the basic modes.
It'd be interesting. I think here's my prediction.
What about that? What's that one career mode that
my career, whatever.
My career, yeah, I think.
Because my career, you have to be connected to NBA 2K servers anyway for that.
Right.
So I think it's just the offline mode.
I'm gonna make a prediction right now. If you I usually pick up my games on lunch and play at work with no internet. If I were to get NBA 2K18, I'm gonna guess you can play as the Cavs or the Golden State, and in a local play
exhibition.
I'm guessing that's. But my question wasn't related to what's just on the cart. You get NBA 2K. Let's say you're interested in getting it, and you want all the modes. You're gonna install everything. What is the benefit besides the discount to actually putting a cartridge in your Switch for NBA 2K18?
You don't have.
There is none.
That's what I'm saying. The benefit, you're actually.
That's called a loaded question, sir. I'm just gonna say that.
I don't think any of us disagree with that. I mean, there is no benefit.
So I was just trying to put a little more weight behind Retro saying they should have just went digital. Especially his region.
I understand. I just don't. I personally
go digital, and
I think it's just more so a market space thing. It's like you want the Switch version to do well. It doesn't make any sense to be like, oh, that's the only version that's digital. And so when a kid walks into the store, they don't even know.
Well, they could have put the box with a download code, because here's where I'm going to tell you guys, I canceled my pre-order, and it wasn't just this, because I already knew last week that we assumed there'd be a 16 gig card, which for me, it made it slightly different because, then I got plenty of room on my internal. Well, this way, they absolutely don't even let you. You can't even install the 16 gigs to your internal. Even if you have 25.9 gigs, you buy your Switch that day and buy NBA, it doesn't even let you install it to the internal memory because of the save file size. So there's 3 factors. Other than the 20% discounts, the only reason I'd go physical, they only put 6.8 gigs on the card. So now you're downloading 16 gigs. To me, that made no sense. And then the save files are up to 5 gigs. No, it doesn't use that, but it has to be. It's like your bank account. It's like your credit card. You have to have $100 on there, for some, even if you don't spend 100, whatever, you got to have it available. Mm-hmm. So now you're using 5 gigs of my internal memory is just taken, and even if I don't do and create a player and all that, the final straw for me was finding out this was the 8 gig card. Why the fuck is this game been delayed a month for the physical version? I assumed the delay was to have it on a bigger card that was lesser, not readily as available. Why the hell is the physical version coming out a month from now if it's just an 8 gig card? To me, that makes absolutely no sense. And unless they couldn't figure out their solution to what they were going to do with this storage situation until late, to me, that makes absolutely no sense, and that was the final straw.
I actually wanted to say something to what Terrell just said. He had a very nice story earlier. Why do you release it physical? Because a kid, he walks in the store, he sees the game, he picks it up. Okay, I'm going to continue your story. This kid comes home. They're poor as fuck, you know. They don't have internet. He can't play his game because there is no game on the card. Well, that is why I have such a big issue.
I'm sorry, kid, but that happened to me too, where I went home with the game, didn't realize I couldn't save anything because I didn't have a memory card. I had to take my ass back to the store, or I had to wait and keep playing the same crap over and over again. That's how it's gaming. Sorry, it's expensive.
Yeah, but also, to be fair, that happens because
that's happened to me before.
That's also happened to me on like happened to me.
Yeah, but that hasn't happened since hard drives were put in systems. I mean, but yeah, that did happen back in the day.
You know what this feels like? Like, I love dumb analogies. People hate me for this. So
Red Knight used to give a bunch of them.
You have a kid, okay? And the parents get a divorce. So you have a kid. And, okay, so you have Bethesda. They're a parent. Okay, you have Doom, okay? You take the kid. Okay, you guys take him a week. We guys take him a week. You got 2K. They're sawing this kid in half, chopping it up. You know, you get half a pile, I get half a pile. What do you got now? You can't do anything with that kid. It's a fucking pile, you know? You can't do anything with it. And it will never makes sense to me, like, at all.
No one's here saying that this is like a great option. What I'm saying is that unfortunately, because I think for all the consoles,
perfect for. I mean, that's just,
yeah. I'm about to say I think all the consoles have shitty storage situations where you will automatically lose on all three consoles because you're gonna have to buy extra storage.
Juice is right. You're saying where he's saying that if all these other consoles have hard drives, so you won't have that particular problem. But you got to make compensation. I mean, you make concessions for certain things. Well, I can't take my Xbox with me on the bus, you know, where I can do that with my Switch. So you're making certain concessions for everything you do.
Yeah, I mean, and I should point out the final nail in the coffin for NBA was the fact. Obviously, once I couldn't put it on the internal memory. Damn it! I just lost my.
Well, the internal memory. That's to me. That's the most egregious.
Oh, here it is.
But go ahead.
If you buy a Switch, and I already kind of talked about this, but if you go buy a Switch brand new, you buy NBA. Let's say you're a non-Nintendo fan, and you just say, "I'm going to buy NBA 2K18. I'm excited." That is the first and only game currently on the Switch that you can't just put the card in and play. I mean, you can play. They said there's a portion of the game, but the full actual game won't even fit on the internal memory. So that would be like buying a PS4 game. And the PS4 has 407 gigs, you know, after your updates with no games. And the game's 500 gigs. Like that's to me, that would be you equate the size of the Switch's internal memory to the size. You know, that's never happened before. That I know.
I thought Dragon Quest was like that though. Dragon Quest is like that.
What's on the card? In Japan, it just all comes on the card.
Yeah, but I'm still saying if you
the digital version. I'm talking physical. I don't know another time in history.
On any other console in history.
In history where you buy the physical game and you can't play it without instantly needing expanded the memory. Like other than Vita. The Vita.
Nope. We can go back to Xbox original or Xbox 360. The core, if you bought the core system, you couldn't save anything. So you had to go out and buy a hard drive.
I thought the core came with a memory card. Because my friend had one, and he had like a Microsoft
memory card.
I don't know if it was separate though.
I don't think it came.
It's called a core. It
was a USB drive, but it was a Microsoft memory card basically.
Because for me personally, because to be honest with you, I'll probably be the one that will deal with this the least because I don't really care about sports games, and most of the games that I would buy, I won't really suffer the issue. But with me, here's my thing. If there's a game that I want that comes out that, let's say, is, I don't know, 30 gigs or so, somewhere around there, and it's like I want the physical copy and I got to download at least half of that, to me, it's going to be a game-by-game basis. It's going to, like, it's not a concession I want to make, but in a day and age where we constantly end up making concessions anyway, like, that's like, it's annoying, but it's kind of either you suffer or you just don't get the game. Like that, like that's what it feels like. It's like if I don't want to put up with this shit, then I just can't get the game. because
I mean,
because there's no guarantee that they're going to come out with the game on the full card.
Yeah, I mean, there is a point to be made. What Juice was saying about like the physical version coming out later. If you're going to release the physical version, maybe you should have enough space on that damn card, to where this isn't a problem. If you're gonna release it later, say, hey, this is gonna cost more, or because when you got what was it, Donkey Kong 64, all those cartridges came with the 4 megabyte expansion card.
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo had to eat that,
And I chose not to buy the game, in that situation, but
yeah, so
because of that,
that's just.
I mean, it's happened in the
that's
past, but I just wanted to point out for Nintendo, for the Switch, this is definitely
this is new territory. You are right. That is.
But that was like a perfect example. Donkey Kong needed it.
Yeah.
So they gave it to you. You could play it when you
But it
bought it.
cost $100 in it, or $80 the game.
The thing that sucks about it didn't even need it for the game. It's just that it had a bug that Rare couldn't fix, and the only way it got fixed was using the expansion.
Yeah, but they did put on there required because it was required. All right, so getting away from 2K specifically, and I do want to point out, like,
FIFA, because you're kind of on FIFA right now.
If
you don't
FIFA
know
announces that this is the same situation, then I'll be pissed again. But if FIFA fits, if it comes on the cartridge and the whole game's there, I mean, obviously there's probably gonna be patches and stuff. I mean, that's just, to me, that's every game in my system has the room, unless the patch takes up all my system memory, which I wouldn't expect. But if FIFA comes out and it's all on the card, I will buy FIFA just to support that practice. I don't think FIFA is going to take as much because it doesn't have the cutscene and the story mode. But for me, that's going to be my little, personal protest or whatever to the way they handled NBA. So, but let's talk about. I don't want to drone onto this much longer. We got Metroid Samus Returns to talk about, but
just EA can kiss my entire.
How concerned? All I'm going to say about EA to me is more offensive, but that's a personal thing.
How concerned are you guys that games like Wolfenstein 2 just won't have a multiplayer, and you will have to install, and you will have to have an SD card? Like, I didn't plan on buying a micro SD card. I plan on going physical with the Switch, buying game cards, and not needing, except for when my indie game collection got big enough to fill my internal memory. That's when I was planning on buying it. So how concerned are you guys that the next bigger third-party games next year might have this problem, and it might not just be, the multiplayer modes, what you have to download? What if it's a part of the game? I mean, I guess on a scale of 1 to 10, how concerned are you that this is going to become the norm for third-party games coming to Switch? So let's start with Terrell.
There's nothing too surprising. I mean, this is something I figured. Looking at the console, looking at the size, and especially this year, it's a pain in the ass, but it's something I already knew was going to be an issue in the first place. I mean, that was the compromise you make, is that some of the concessions that, a PS4 owner doesn't have to deal with, because even though they'll eventually have to get another hard drive, they have a terabyte of storage, and that's still enough for at least like 10, I would say at least 10 games.
Well, I got 7 games, and I have plenty on my
terabyte
PS4.
is actually like 823 gigs when you actually,
what
you could actually use. So even that.
So what's your level of expectation that this is going to become the norm? I guess we'll say expectation.
Are you talking about the split download, or are you talking?
You're going to have to download on top of the physical for third.
See, that depends, because I would say it's like I was thinking in the line of T, where I think that the cards will get cheaper.
Yeah, but I'm talking before that happens. Like,
before that happens,
there's no way a 32 gig card on the Switch is going to also be cheaper in 2 months, 3 months.
Oh no,
not We're talking a year.
I don't
2
think
years.
we think anything big's coming within that time.
Wolfenstein 2 is coming in 2018.
Well, I would expect. Well, go ahead. I don't want.
And I mean,
I
think there's going to be more third-party games jumping on the train. So I'm expecting.
But I'm thinking that for me, I've noticed it's more Western third-party that tends to end up hitting these huge numbers. Not saying Japanese games don't get there either. I'm just saying I'm more used to it on Western games, and I think we're still in proving grounds for Western. So if you, what is it, 1 through 10, that's how much I expect this to be the norm. It's like a 4 or 5.
I hope you're right. I'm expecting them pretty much every third-party game in 2018 to have a download on top of the cart until the prices come down on the bigger cards. So for me, I'm very concerned about it, and I'm not looking forward to it. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I think it's the reason Call of Duty didn't come. I think it's the reason Assassin's Creed didn't come. I think it's part of the reason, other than the fact that they maybe didn't think it was going to be a success. They were looking at the sizes, and maybe they don't think this would go over well. I don't know. I'm just guessing here. So for me, I think from this point on, 2018, till this card situation gets figured out, it's going to be the norm for maybe not like some Japanese. But I would think like Final Fantasy 15 would have this problem. If they ever brought something like that, Kingdom Hearts 3, games like that, maybe those are Japanese games. If those came to Switch, I think this is going to be a problem for that too. So I'm not looking forward to it. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully they just do what LA Noire hopefully did, and you're going to $10 more, but the whole game's on the card. I would rather have that, even though I don't think $10. I don't think it costs $10 more for them. I think they're rounding up from like $6, just to kind of make it an even number. But
when you use this example now, are you talking? Are you talking about what NBA is doing? That you have half the game a download, or are you talking about what Bethesda is doing? Like you get some of the game, it works, and you have to download some extra shit, or is it a combination? Because there's a big difference.
I'm not really separating the two, but I'm not all games are going to be multiplayer, so you're not going to have that nice even split.
I'm going to say it like this. I would be on a 1, maybe, being afraid of it. But if everybody like T is going to accept this shit, I'm going to be at an 8. And more people are going to be like, oh, wait a minute. If they can get away with releasing a physical game like that and people just download the rest, then might as well just pump it out on the Switch too, Like, if people need to simply not accept it now, and it won't be a problem later.
No. You ain't gonna get away with that. What am I accepting that's just so egregious that you have to download a game? Like everybody does that.
No, yes, I don't care. That's what I'm saying. Release it digital. There's no issue. What people are accepting is physical games that are not physical games.
Yeah, but we're not.
I don't. The game is digital. You can buy it right now, digitally.
Yes, but Jude's talking about physical games being released that will require downloads.
So you're saying don't buy the physical version, just download.
Don't buy the physical version. This is not a problem.
That's the thing. Exactly. People shouldn't even accept it.
Yeah, but
because if you accept it now, more companies will do it later on. Like if it's not being accepted now, it won't be a problem. If they see at 2K, like, oh wait,
well, they might also see it and about it.
Nobody's buying.
They might not bring the games anyway.
Yeah, but that's like a half and half situation. But that's like a theory. We're in like
if they see that the physical, I can't even call it a physical. If they see the digital game in the store doesn't sell, then people are gonna drop that shit. Just like release it digital, it's okay, but don't release something physical that isn't physical. And if people buy the physical game that is not physical, more companies will do it down the line.
I don't necessarily think sales will dictate it anyway, because it's gonna be an issue of we still can't get the game out on time. We're trying to make money, and we're sitting here making it harder for people to buy our game because we had an extra layer of an SD card on top of it. I don't think 2K as a company wants to make less money. Those are going to be factors into making less money.
This is going to affect them anyway.
Yeah, so I don't think it's just a simple, if you bought the game physical this year, it's going to like highly dictate what they do next year in terms. Like there's too many elements. There's too many elements.
I don't think there's a bunch of people like this who only has the 32 gigs on their Switch and be like, oh, I'm just going to go out there and buy a card for this game. I feel like people who already have cards are going to make that decision. And for people who decide that's not going to be something they want to do, then they're not going to buy it. And then that's not going to me who has the space buying this game is not going to, there's no protesting a situation where it's gonna hurt them, but if I don't buy this game, it's just like, well, I have the space. What am I crying about? What am I saving the space for? It doesn't make sense.
And I see like if you protest it and don't buy it, and then the game doesn't sell, then there's not going to be games coming anyway.
Then where
Like,
are you? Right?
Yeah, you automatically lose.
I think it's a lose-lose. I also see where he's saying if this is really popular, let's say 2K18 sells like 1 million, then if companies were like, well, we can't bring our game because it won't fit on the card, then it's like, oh, well, they did it.
I think what I'm trying to say is that this is not some kind of intricate plot to, take your hard drive space. This isn't like, this in no way helps 2K at all.
No.
And the fact that they're doing this, it means they're in dire straits to do it. I feel like,
it's an extra. It's a you're for in 2K's position, they're adding an extra wall to stop people from giving them money. Right. Why would they want to keep the wall up?
Yeah,
when they can take it down.
Just curious for you guys, for example, like Terrell, you brought the store up earlier. Is it just the fact that the game should be in the stores on the shelves?
I think that's part of it, especially because you gotta remember NBA is a super casual game. Like
okay,
that is
so
casual
because
game
of that. Because of the fact that the game isn't on the card, who are we kidding? The game won't be on the card. So what you can do is what some Nintendo has done this here in Europe before with 2 or 3 games at least, like Mario versus Donkey Kong on the 3DS or some shit. Put the box on the shelves, put the download code in it. That's what they have done before. They have done that before already several times. Then you have the game is in the store and you download it, but don't.
But that doesn't change. The problem is it doesn't change the problem, which is that the box is still, in NBA's case, is still going to say it requires an SD card. Yeah, so it's not. It still makes the game look unappealing anyway.
But that's why I'm asking if the point for you is that it's in the store or not, because then you have it in the store, and you're not starting this really dangerous trend of a physical game that isn't a physical game. That is my main issue with this.
That's part of the issue, but the more important issue is that when you look at the PlayStation 4 box, it just has the game. Xbox is just as the game. The Switch box is still going to have it requires an SD card, which means
I mean, we don't have any way to know, but
that's still part of the problem.
Do you think it would make a difference if the card was in there or a download code since the card only has 6 gigs on it? Like, do you think North American consumers would see that and say, no, this is just a download code? Or if they got the box?
Well, download code you wouldn't even put in the box. Why
you put it in the box so it's on store shelves so that
because when it comes to download codes, they'll just do what they do with the other games. They'll just have it as an eShop.
No, but what I'm saying, what Retro's saying is, if you put it in the actual Switch box with a download code, then it in people's minds, like it's there. Like you see those little cards, those are an afterthought to someone like me or somebody. But if you're actually looking through and you have a physical box, I'm just asking the question: do you think U.S. gamers, North American consumers would be like fine with knowing that it's just a download code, but having an actual physical box, the same exact physical box of other Switch games?
That to me, that it doesn't. I feel like I don't see the point of why that would make a difference. Let me rephrase
what's the point of having it with the card inside?
Let me rephrase it. Because the problem is that it being a download code in the box is pretty much trying to fake that it is a physical game when it's not a physical game.
But that's what I said earlier. That's why I said it. It has been done in Europe at least 3 times, and 2 of which at least was Nintendo. They have released a game. It is in the store. I have 2 or 3 of those. On the box, you have the box of the game. There's a little thing that says there's no game in here. There's a download code. If you do that, NBA 2K will be on store shelves, but you're not starting this thing with the card. That's what I'm saying. The card doesn't need to be there. If you want it in the store shelf, you just add the download code, because people keep saying, but then you have to buy the thing anyway. But any gamer, everybody who's a gamer, even with the Switch, even if you just buy indie games, at some point, any gamer has to get something to store shit on. You just have to. So my problem is just, if you want it in the stores, do what has been done here before. You take the box, you put a download code in it. That's it. Don't do this weird physical, non-physical thing.
So Terrell, you don't think people would accept that? Because I'm torn. I don't know if people would either. But I think that they would just be fine if because I want to make sure I got the question right. If people would still be fine if it was just a download code in a box. How do you think U.S. consumers would react to that practice?
I think, think about it. There's still more likely people are still going to end up getting it on the PlayStation and Xbox. If you're talking about like Nintendo,
that's besides the point. Do you think putting a digital code in a box in the U.S. would make a difference where that would get people to buy it who normally wouldn't just download it.
Not
That's kinda
really,
what I'm
because it's just the.
Yeah, but if you really know what you're
See,
doing, you
that
know
is
that
the
you know
problem.
that
Now
that
you got
card
it.
is just the same thing. Like you still download. But anyway, TD, what do you think U.S.
I
game
respect
consumers?
this.
Yeah, no. But what do you think? Do you think U.S. gamers would accept that kind of practice? Because to me, it's kind of an in between. I don't know if anyone would be like, oh,
The
I mean,
download
it just looks different.
no, the box would look identical except it'd have a little icon.
Well, no,
saying-
I mean, like it's the, I mean, in terms of comparing it to a download code in the store, it's just really the presentation that's changed.
Because I think that's what people care about.
I mean, I think we accept that to some degree already with a lot of these, smaller games anyway, where, people still want physical, but there's no actual physical media in there. It's just a code and
Yeah,
Get
PC.
your little box
That's
and-
how it works on PC.
yes.
Yeah, but I don't.
put it on the shelf.
I don't. How many people? I'm about to say most people talk about gaming.
I don't understand how, I'd rather have a card. It's still the same price. I don't know what the difference is. I just don't.
Well, he was saying because Terrell was saying that if it wasn't on the store shelves, then they're gonna miss out on sales, and he's like, well, that'd be an option to have a box on store shelves so people
Well,
would
I mean,
see it.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
I'm just saying, I don't know why, just not, even though that card only has 8 gigs of stuff on it, I don't know why that's not still a better option than just having it's the same price. If it was a different price, that's one thing.
Yeah, about to say like the code.
For me, it's just more convenient because you ain't got to put a pointless cartridge in to play the game. Like it's on your
but you
system.
already have that up and
I know. I'm
download
saying,
it.
but what I'm asking is, do you think U.S. game consumers, because it worked in Europe, they do it. PC games, they do it. So you think it'd be a
I don't
viable
think-
option?
I don't think they would care that much because it's one of those like you're just adapting to like a minor change. I mean,
Yeah.
people nowadays are already used to putting codes in. They do that for their ultraviolet, their digital copies of movies they get. Like
Just
it's
make
not.
sure when they go up to the register, the guy's like, "There's no game in there. It's just a code."
Yeah, I don't think it would make that much of a difference.
I think it would be better than the little code, the little download, like credit card looking things.
Just
I
because
mean,
it's a box.
why else? I mean, why do people buy physical? I guess when it's
Well, I mean,
on,
I buy physical media. Well,
when the whole game's on there, it's a
I
different
think-
story.
I think if it's on the card, maybe it should prompt you, like when you put the card in, say you need to download such and such. Maybe that would be a thing.
yeah. See, the thing is, at this point we're just borderline speculating because we don't even know how NBA is going to
Right.
work when it comes.
Well, you already
out.
know. There's 6. You download 6.8.
I'm talking. I'm talking about.
Oh,
like,
you're talking about what's on
What
there.
actually happens when you put
Yeah.
the thing in?
yeah, what happens is in the card.
I'd be curious.
How much you can play without downloading.
I'll be curious to find out. It wouldn't impact me at all because I'm pretty confident it's going to be a little more than a demo playable. But anyway, let's talk about Metroid: Samus Returns, a game that is all on the card, and it's a great game. And I've been playing it. I know T and Terrell have been playing it. Retro, I'm pretty sure you
Hey,
got it.
No,
Quick-
I'm
quick-
gonna be really quick on this one because
Hold
I
on,
wanted
before you
to-
start,
Oh, hold on.
My kid's going to bed. So he has an announcement to make.
All right.
Go ahead. Tell everybody who you are and what you just did.
My name is Maxwell, and
How old are
I'm
you? How old are you?
7.
Uh-huh.
And I beat Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Speak. You can't hear
Zelda
you.
Breath of the Wild.
He just beat Dark Beast Ganon.
Really?
He's 7
Nice.
years old, folks, and he just knocked it out. And
Did you have to help him with anything?
I didn't touch it. I was up here. He did it
Really?
all by
I
himself.
mean, for the game, his whole play session, or did he just play the boss? Like I'm guessing he played.
no,
the
he
whole
played
game?
the whole game by himself.
That's what I was asking. Yeah, that's
sorry,
impressive.
Yeah, I haven't touched any. He would ask me, but then I'd be like too busy at the time, and he'd come up and say, "Oh, I just beat it." So,
When did you start playing?
when did he start playing video games?
No, the Zelda. Breath of the
Same,
Wild.
pretty much the same day I started. Maybe
But he had to probably
couple
fight
weeks
some
later.
time.
Okay,
fight his
so
dad
I
for
guess you
time.
basically beat Trey to it then.
Oh,
No, Trey
He
already
already beat Doc Trey just by beating it.
man.
funny.
I'm pretty sure Trey already beat it though.
Nah.
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago or something, I think.
Did he? Last I saw, he had like 8 hearts.
Yeah, he
That was like a month
put
ago.
up a video.
Yeah.
Put up a video of him beating it. He beat it like. Yeah, it's been a few weeks. I don't think it's been that long.
That's just crazy. But anyway, Zoe70, he's in the chat. He probably won't beat it till next year this time. the way he's been playing. But,
What's up with all the shade? I'm trying to have a nice
but
moment here.
but congrats to Max.
Christ.
I
there's-
had no idea. I never thought he would be able to beat this game on his own, and I'm very
I'm curious.
impressed.
You should track his.
I'm gonna say, don't
On the
doubt
map.
your genes, man. You're doubting
Use
your
the map
genes.
feature to track like where he went.
Where he's been.
I'd be curious to see.
This is spying to a
And I
whole
don't think he
level.
beat all the beasts. I don't think he beat all the divine beasts. So
That's pretty brutal, then.
yeah, he went in there.
Dude's running all naked to
Handicap.
Ganon and shit.
I didn't do that. So
And the dude I work with, he bought his Switch a month after it came out, and he just beat Zelda. He's a big World of Warcraft guy, so he doesn't have as much time playing the Switch as most of us Nintendo fans. But he was he didn't
Ring
even,
of the lives.
he finally beat it, and he said he didn't do half the side quest, but he didn't know there was a post credits cutscene, so he was like, "What is with that ending?" And I was like, "Oh, dude, there's like another 2-3 minutes of basically setting up probably the DLC." So, but that was cool. He told me today that he beat it yesterday or last night.
Oh.
So he's a casual. He's not a diehard. His first Nintendo system since like 64 or Super NES. So,
wow.
but anyway, let's talk about some Samus because it's one of those types of games where it seems daunting for me. Like before, I'm thinking about, I got to get all these abilities, I got to do all this backtracking. But once I start playing these games, like Axiom Verge was specifically what I was thinking about when I was just saying that. Once I start playing, I'm like, oh my god, I love this. I love this format. I love getting new abilities. I love being able to get to new areas. And Samus Returns to me it's a little bit of a shame that's on the 3DS because I've always had problems playing 3DS for long periods of time, but with my hand, getting uncomfortable. But it's such a great game, and I'm so happy. There's so many aspects about it that I like, and I just I'm glad it's here. It kind of sucks that we had to go for so long, but it was worth the wait for me. Like, this game's so good. But I'm curious about Terrell because I know you played Other M, and I believe you said it was a pretty good game. And
Yeah, I enjoyed Other M.
so how do you feel about Samus Returns versus Other M? And
It's the first game that I wouldn't say it's the first game. It is like the game that makes me truly hate that it's on the 3DS. Like it's one of those games where I enjoy it, but I hate that analog stick on the 3DS.
yeah, the
so
circle pad sucks.
God damn,
That's the only complaint.
It's the only console I want to mod purely for that reason. No, the game is good. I'm enjoying the game. I think I'm about where I think Juice and I don't know where you're at, T, but I know where Juice and
I
Rob
got
are
14 Metroids now. And
at. I think we're literally in the same spot then.
And I'm in an area where I can't go any further, and I've covered a lot of the map, and I'm like, I didn't try it yet, but I'm like, I don't know where I need to go.
I need to explore. I'm currently exploring an area, but I also have about 14 Metroids.
I need a grappling hook or a
Already got that.
Did you? I haven't got that.
Yeah, I got that like what was that? Today, earlier this morning, I got that. I've been playing it pretty consistently. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I don't know how in depth you want me to go.
Well, just since I don't think you have a ton of Metroid experience. You ever play Super Metroid or Fusion or anything?
No.
All right, so
I
what
literally
would you-
have the Other M. That's literally
what's the closest to this style game that you've played that you could compare it to?
that's exploration based and you gain fucking Castlevania Mirror of Fate.
Castlevania.
That's what it reminds me of, Castlevania Mirror of Fate, which ironically enough is made by the same team.
Same team, yeah.
I'm already used to this style of gameplay. I don't have any problem with the whole, you go get an ability and you gain more passages through an area. I think I saw Rob's video on it about how he was complaining. He wasn't complaining, but he mentioned it was a minor issue of the over focus on the melee, which ironically enough, if you're coming from Other M, it doesn't really bother you that much.
Yeah, it's like there's way worse crap in Other M, which
Yeah. So like that doesn't bother me. The only thing that bothers me is that my fucking 3DS can't handle the quick controls sometimes that I need to do my melee. Cause and I like that because it keeps me on my toes. It keeps the game fast paced. It's fun. I like the exploration and I like the fact that I gain a new ability. It's very RPG like.
It happens quick in this game. You're getting new stuff quicker than any other Metroid game by far.
Yeah, it's like to me it reminds me of RPG where you level up and you gain a new ability. Except here you wander around and you find your new ability and you're able to do more shit. I've enjoyed the hell out of it. I'll let other people talk, and I guess.
Do you think you'd want to go back and play like some of the older games? Like Super Metroid to me is still king. It's still playable to this day as.
Maybe. Right now we're in the middle of Switch game season, so it's like I don't feel like I have the free time to justify to do it. I wouldn't mind doing it. I think I actually bought. It might have been Metroid Fusion I bought on the Wii U.
Fusion's good too.
A good
I think I bought Fusion on the Wii U and I started it, but I never finished it.
I don't think Super Metroid you couldn't grab ledges if I remember.
No.
Fusion you can, though.
That wouldn't bother me if the game is designed for you not.
It's designed, where you need to super.
That's my whole thing. The level design is set up in a way where things kind of fall into place, and the game has a lot of little helpful hints and tools, so you don't. Like, let's say you need like 10 Metroids and you got like 7. When you go back to the shrine and you put in the Metroids, it gives you the location of the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And usually it's like a chain reaction. You find that area and it's like, oh shit, there's another area. And no shit, like it's set up in a way where you're constantly finding new shit. So like I'm never stuck for long if I am stuck at all. So
all right, Retro, you said you were going to be quick.
Yeah, it's just because I wanted the special edition that they were going to release, but I couldn't find it. So I had a friend from England ship it over. He shipped it yesterday, so it's going to be here only by the end of the week. I only played the original Samus Returns on the Game Boy, so this one I have nothing to say yet for it at all.
Okay. T, give your take, and also how do you feel the 3D benefits this game, and how do you feel the 3D compares to other 3DS games?
I've probably spent more time unboxing the game than actually playing it. I just got mine, yesterday afternoon, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably got like 30 minutes in on it, so enough to like get the feel of it. And that was one of my biggest things was that I was pretty much blown away by the 3D in the game. Like,
yeah, that's where I didn't want to lead you into that, but that's where I was going with it.
That was gonna be my first point. I was like, holy crap. It looks really good, and I can't see myself not playing with the 3D on the whole time because
exactly
it just looks so good. It's perfect, and that's the only reason that I'm not overly upset that this is on 3DS. Obviously, I'm with you guys on the circle pad. Like, it's not good to me for a Metroid game. I need that D-pad. Is the D-pad being used for?
Selecting abilities.
It's for your abilities and stuff. So. But you have a big touchscreen.
I know. Use the touchscreen to switch weapons.
I would say because you can't actually touch it. I don't think. Can you? I haven't tried.
No, I haven't tried. But it is. The problem is with the circle pad is you're trying to. Sometimes I'm just trying to go into the morph ball, and it's like, nope.
Like walks
forward.
Because
you have to just hold down twice. You have to hold it down once to crouch, and again to turn.
I'm used to just a quick double tap, and you're in the morph ball.
Yeah.
It's like, then I'm trying to run. And I'm like, I want to aim. I want to just drop down to her, lower so she can shoot lower enemies. Next thing I know, I'm running forward, pointing down at the ground. I'm running into the enemy, taking damage. I'm just like, so I just hold the L button almost every time. And I don't use the melee that much other than even with the Metroid fights, like maybe I'll get one melee per Metroid fight.
I hear you get to a point where you definitely will be using it, though.
I'm blasting. I just blast everything. Like,
really? I'm using it like all the time.
I mean, I use it.
I don't use it much on the Metroid fights because they barely give you a chance to use it. Like, you get like 1 or 2 shots like per fight, and that's it.
I'm in an area where I can kill most enemies easily with just shooting them. But there is that one horned enemy that has like, you can't shoot it from the front, so you have to.
Oh, you haven't ran across the enemies that like pretty much do a sonic spin dash towards you then yet, have you?
No.
Oh, the motherfuckers. You have something to look forward to. That's all I'm going to say.
The music, I've had the headphones in 100% of the time. And when you go into the heat, volcanic, whatever you want to call them, areas, and you hear that music, and it's freaking from Metroid Prime. God, what was the region called in Metroid Prime? Not Phendrana, because that's the ice one, but at the caverns. Something Caverns. Starts with M, maybe. But anyway, it's the same, and it's for me who I love Metroid Prime 1, even though after replaying it, I actually put Super Metroid back ahead of it. But the music, when you go into the areas that are hot, and you're just, if you played Metroid Prime 1 and loved that game, you're just gonna be like, oh, it's pure bliss to hear that music because it's so good. But then the rest of the music, some of the new original stuff's really good, and it's just like these guys did a good job. And I heard some people complaining that it's just like I was talking to Terrell and Retro privately after the Direct about people saying Mario needs different story, needs a new story other than rescuing the princess, and how, yeah, Magmore Caverns, thanks, John R. But it was Magmore Caverns. But Super Mario Odyssey, like, oh, we need some story in Mario games. They need to change the story up. That would bring it to the next level. And I cringe when I hear that. That's the one complaint I hear with people playing Samus Returns is they really don't. There's really no story, and I'm hoping there's more story. Like even in the Nintendo voice chat, they were saying that kind of stuff.
I heard that in that.
You want to know why? Because it's a franchise that people are invested into, and they would love to know more about the character they're playing as.
See, I guess from someone who hasn't been there from pretty much the beginning, but
I've been there from the beginning, and I always liked the kind of mystery with Samus. Like I don't want to hear everything about her.
I know. I'm just saying.
I know Terrell likes, he likes characters and just, hear some backstory and stuff. For some people, I understand. For me personally,
I'm just saying, like, think about it for someone like my perspective, who's like relatively new to Metroid. It's just like, oh, I'm playing as this character and running around shooting stuff. I'm like, well, that's cool, but I wouldn't mind like minor cuts. I'm not even talking about anything like insanely long.
Like Other M?
No, I said insane. Other M is pretty long.
Well, Fusion, you'd like Fusion then, because there's a lot of inner monologue and.
Yeah, I just like it's small shit. The same thing I say with Mario. Like Mario doesn't have to have like full-on dialogue cutscenes, but like small little quips and shit can be fine. Kind of like what the Mario and Luigi series does. We have like these little physical gags and stuff like that.
Let me use an example of a movie that Metroid is obviously based off of, which is Alien. If you remember Aliens, the second one by Jim Cameron, you remember the little Newt girl, right? And little Newt, her name was Newt, the little girl that was left behind or whatever. And you didn't, it was kind of a mystery. She was quiet. You didn't know anything about her. And she slowly, you start to get her story once she got more comfortable with everybody. And I felt like that's kind of how Metroid works, where you don't know all the details right away, and when you do, you kind of more invested in it. Because I remember specifically getting the special edition of Aliens, and there's scenes that are cut out. You see what happens to Newt and her family and all that stuff, and that ruins it for me. Like I like the mystery of Newt more than I like hearing her backstories or seeing her backstory on screen. Like.
Yeah, I mean, there's examples both ways where.
But is that just because it's not?
I'm just saying that's good for my taste. I get where people want that stuff. I get it.
Well, I'm just saying, obviously, is it because the backstory was told bad, or was it just because?
No, it wasn't told bad or anything. It just, to me, it took a little bit. It just took something away from it.
It's also like horror movies where it has some kind of creature, and it's like the hearing about the creature, hearing the noises, or getting a glimpse of it is scary. But when they try to show the whole thing. I know it's not completely similar, but sometimes
I about to say I argue the opposite personally.
I just think for Metroid,
to me, that's like the one that you don't do in movies. You don't do that whole tell me a whole bunch of look how scary the creature is and I can't see it.
I think Terrell.
Let me ask you, Terrell, how many times have they shown the creature and it's actually paid off and looked something that was cool or scary?
I don't really watch horror movies like that.
That depends on the movie, though.
Yeah. I can't think of one where it actually looked cool, but met my expectations. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up
because I think Terrell, he thinks like that. He wants this extra information because he's in all that waifu shit,
Yeah, dude. I don't believe this shit. Wow.
In Japanese games, you get like star signs and cup size and blood type and all that bullshit.
I don't need all that. I don't need all that extra shit. I'm just saying, like, characterization. I like I like characterization. I know Retro was gonna say Retro been throwing a whole bunch of fucking shade tonight. This man.
I will say, does that have anything to do with it? Though, wanting to know more about Samus, because from that perspective,
I would just like, I like to see her react in certain situations. It didn't have to be anything. As I say, it ain't like you got to add new characters and shit. You just have her interact with the Metroids, like the baby Metroid. Supposedly, it like looks at her.
In Super Metroid, there was some pretty touching stuff there. At the end.
It's like I'm saying. I don't need it. Look, you can create great characterization sequences without having the character speak a word or having the shit moment last any more than like a minute. Like I'm not asking for what some people are asking for, which is some fucking blockbuster. We need this epic story. I don't need that shit. I just need moments. It doesn't have to be these long moments. It doesn't have to be these long sequences. Just moments.
I mean, I guess
something.
I want to be mad at them, but to me, like I love that I'm just instantly thrown in. I'm playing the game, and there's nothing to skip.
Well, yeah, in this day and age, that's refreshing as fuck.
And it is like I'm so into it, and it's like I don't even care at the end if there's anything more than Super Metroid. Just like your boss battle, and then you have to get out before shit blows up. Or I don't know if that was at the end, but that's
like the end of every Metroid game.
I was gonna say that.
From what I've seen, it's like every Metroid game.
And then have her fly away in her ship and maybe show her face or something like that. I'd be completely fine.
I thought there was. I heard the only way she shows her face is depending on how much percentage of the map you covered and stuff like that.
Yeah, how much you complete the game? I think since the Super Nintendo, since the original game, they've done that.
See, I've looked up some Metroids and stuffs.
I do agree though. Like, I mean, there is potential there to take Samus, and maybe not in a mainline Metroid game for my taste, but there is some. Other M kind of took it too far for me, but
Other M wasn't written well. That was the problem.
But all right,
so sound like a Federation Force 2.
Hey, chill out.
But we've gone on 2 hours. I know T's hungry, so.
Oh, is he? Where did that come from? Why is it?
Because somebody said something about the dongos in the chat, and I was like, I'm so hungry, I can eat a dodongo.
Oh, that's a quote. That wasn't you being.
It's from
the Zelda CDI.
One of those terrible Zelda CDI games. Yeah.
Oh, you didn't get the? Oh, really? I thought you.
I didn't play those.
I'm not actually.
You've never heard the meme, though. It's a meme in itself.
Yeah.
Now that you say it, maybe, but.
I made a video using it.
I'm about to say, to be fair, this is the same guy who didn't even know who AVGN was, and I was like, what?
Yeah,
what?
That's crazy to me, man. That's crazy.
That hurt me, man.
I only got on YouTube in 2013, basically, the gaming side of it, and just followed
That's all he does is gaming.
Yeah, but I just followed Wii U owners, and that's how I got started.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
I don't care. I don't get into the big popular guys. But anyway, before final thoughts, I got to ask Terrell one thing.
Yeah.
Be honest. I don't want no bullshit.
Okay.
What game?
When do I lie to you?
What game are you legit more excited for? Super Mario Odyssey or Sonic Forces?
That's not fucking fair.
That's a hard question, seriously.
That is not fair because of what I should say and what I'm probably going to say, or not. What I should say is Sonic, but what I'm going to say is Mario. Because I know, partially because I don't like the gameplay with the laxness that Forces exudes. But yes, I'm more excited for fucking Odyssey.
Okay.
I wasn't going. Did you really think I was
serious?
going to lie to you? No, I'm serious. Yeah, I'm serious.
Okay.
Mario looks infinitely better than Forces. I will openly admit that. Now look, I'm gonna play the shit out of Sonic when I get it, regardless if I beat Mario by the time it comes out or not. I'm going to play the shit out of Forces.
So, what will be your best platformer of the year 2017? Not between those two games, just period.
But those are the only two platformer games.
What about Sonic Mania?
Oh, that is true. That is true.
Anyway, I'm just messing with it. The thing I wanted to ask you about was we never talked about Forces being a $40 game, and now they got free content coming, which I don't know how significant it will be because the free content.
Fucking Shadow, and everybody's crying because oh my god, it's Shadow.
In Lost Worlds, that free content was absolutely. I mean, it was the best part of the game, but it's still pointless. So,
man, you didn't. I geeked out to see fucking Sonic and a Zelda and a Link hat. That was lit. And besides the point. As far as the game being $40, I'm surprised. That's honestly probably what a lot of Sonic games should have been priced at, to be fair, because I mean, Generations had no business being like a $60 game. It's so fucking
It's
short.
like a 5-hour game at tops for me.
Yeah, especially if you're not a completionist, it's pretty short. That might be Sega properly pricing the game, but I find it a little concerning considering we've only seen like I think 3 or 4 levels out of the game so far. It's not. I just want this to be fun. Like if it's at least fun, I don't think it's gonna be. I know it's not gonna be better than Mario, but if it's at least fun, then I'm happy.
And do you think the $40 price tag is because of the length of the game, or do you just think they realize that maybe it's not?
I would say it's probably the length of the game. I'm not willing to say it's because of quality, because if it's because of quality, they would still charge $60. They still charge $60 for 06, for God's sakes. I don't think it's because of quality. I think it's because the game is short.
Well, if you put
It's fine with me.
and Forces together, you got a $60 game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Besides, everyone's still throwing out their theories about how Mania leads in the Forces, which is some
And I got to admit that $40 price tag does make it in the
it's
realm of
what,
possibility
30?
for me.
I need to see more
discount?
footage.
Because it's,
Because it would be.
it's $35 after tax for me. And
Well, Juice, I'll put it this way. I've already pre-ordered Odyssey like a month ago. I haven't pre-ordered Forces yet.
well, that's surprising, honestly. But I like that. I'm happy to hear that. That was the right answer.
I didn't know we were asking questions. Well,
But-
dang.
To be fair, I think Odyssey, I swear, I have a feeling it might actually, like, for at least like a month or something, be very hard to find.
It's
Odyssey-
already it's the number 1 selling game on Amazon, and the game isn't out yet.
Yeah, I've actually haven't locked in my pre-order just because I figured it'd be plenty of
What?
copies.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm
So like
surprised.
worried now.
Yeah, I think you should probably I pre-ordered
Yeah.
it. Well, I pre-ordered it because I'm gonna get a free hat, but still,
I was
like
there right now.
Kazumi was
I
wearing.
was-
like,
We get
You
no
know-
incentives. I don't think.
Honestly, that's a game I'd pay full price and go digital just to have it on my system at all times because I know I'm gonna be playing a ton. So that's why I've been debating. So because that's just one of those games I'd love to have that in my system at all times, and whatever multiplayer game, whether it's Splatoon or another game that's physical that I have.
Yeah,
I can basically have 2 top games there to play at all times, but I don't know.
and
I
the
do like
tiny
the box
vials.
art. I love that box art, and I don't love the size of the game cards. I think they're a little too small, so it's a weird thing, but
We're just nitpicking aesthetics.
it's a
now,
weird thing.
guys.
But that's why I haven't pre-ordered. I'm
It'd be
debating.
great if they were 3DS size.
I think that would be actually when I put Metroid in, I was like, "Damn, this card's huge." It's like huge. Mario Odyssey has a $10 reward. Dang, I get a $10 in rewards for pre-ordering that game from Best Buy on top of the 20% discount. So I guess I'm gonna have to.
Just to go back to Sonic really quick.
free and shit.
You guys. Oh, what did you say? Sorry.
Wait, what'd you say, Retro?
I just said dudes in America are getting games for free and shit, like new games coming out. Games coming out, getting like half off, $10 on top
Is
of
that
it.
why you've been so salty this whole podcast, Retro? Is that what's been going on?
$50 out the door for Mario Odyssey. Like that's a hell of a deal.
That's very tempting. But
I'm
go ahead, T.
pre-ordering that.
Now, I just want to say I was a little annoyed by the Sonic dude. What he said about, because fans were asking about Sonic Adventure 3 possible, and it's like, well, basically he shot it down by saying, well, we're basically looking to go forward, and I'm like, well,
No, you're not. You're
Well,
copying Generations.
you're
You
going
did go
back.
ahead.
It looks like you're already going back. So what the hell are you talking about?
See, that's such a condescending statement.
Yeah,
That's
it's just
like I understand you don't that people
yeah,
don't.
just say no. We're going in a different direction, and
Yeah.
we're happy with those games. We're going a different direction. Done. Don't condescend to people saying that you're advancing the series. What? Stop it.
Yeah, but I say you went back to 2011 to copy Generations. I don't want to hear that shit.
And they went back to Mania.
Yeah.
It's like,
Hey man, that was fan. No, they went to fucking.
16 to 32.
They went to fan hackers for that shit. They didn't go to. Mania just happened to be made by a person who was a hacker who began to who actually had legitimate skills and made something out of himself. Hey
This
man,
just in though, I'm on Best Buy. I just pre-ordered Mario Odyssey. They have a 400 gigabyte micro SD card out now. It's only $250.
yeah, that was announced.
Yeah, that was announced
Like what was it, a little while
a
ago?
week ago, right?
Yeah,
No, not the Nintendo theme. I'm just saying there's an actual 400. I've never seen
No.
a 400 gig.
that's what I'm saying. That just recently got
Oh,
announced.
really? It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
much more than the 256, which is like 100 or 190, 180.
Who was
Ridiculous.
that? That's SanDisk, isn't it?
SanDisk.
Yeah,
But anyway,
it's a thing.
Good card.
Retro, what's your take on Sonic Forces? Is the price lower in Europe?
I've actually no idea. I didn't look it up. Whether it's 40 or 60. I think 40 is like Terrell said. Like most Sonic games, are not like they're worth much more. But I would have gotten it either way because I'm very interested in it. Like it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, and I really, especially the customization aspect, I like that stuff.
Yeah,
From what I've seen so far, the gameplay it just I don't care if it's like front running 2D shit, but I see that trailer, it just looks like fun to me. So I don't care if it's 40 or 60. I'm assuming if it's 40 for you, it's going to be 40 for me, which is going to make it 45 anyway when you convert it to dollars. But it doesn't matter to me, the price for it. Even if it's 60, I'm still going to get it on the Switch.
the only reason why I'm debating the Switch is because
Yeah, I forgot to bring up the frame rate.
is the frame rate thing. I need to see previews of that game playing before I make that decision. Because if it's 60, then it's an automatic Switch buy. If it's not,
It's bullshit because it should be 60 on Switch. It's bullshit.
it should be.
I agree.
They went for graphic or high fidelity of the visuals because it does.
Yeah,
look
they pulled an
pretty-
NBA.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like it's not like it's like
We're talking about
Taxing
Sonic
Odyssey
Forces
or
here, though.
something.
We're not talking about like real
It is
time.
a pretty good looking game. I mean, for Sonic standards, it's a pretty good looking
Why-
game.
what the fuck is Sonic standard?
I mean, it looks. I think
Like, everyone we got to throw all this Sonic shade in the bag. all of a
Excuse me.
sudden.
What is Sonic? Or excuse me. What is Mario Odyssey's frame rate?
60.
Okay,
But that's what I said. Yeah.
Enough with coddling Sonic for being 30 on Switch. That's ridiculous. Shouldn't be. It should be 60.
Oh no, I'm
I think
sorry.
Sonic Forces looks better than Knack 2 on the
Well,
PS4.
Knack 2 should.
Well, that's not saying.
Yeah, but Knack 2 shouldn't exist. To be fair, I mean, it's bad because I heard the game is pretty fun. Actually, no, because Knack 2 is 30 frames on the base PS4.
Yeah,
It's only like mid 40s, up there to 60 when you're on the Pro and shit. I think.
And when Sonic is like, when Forces is in the 2D mode, you're not telling me that shit is more taxing than Splatoon, for example. You know, there's no reason that game is not.
Seriously.
Oh no, they won't tell you, but it might be what they're gonna say.
So, what do you think? This
No,
Forces. I went to the Sonic Forces, for that new Shadow.
That's what's
Whatever gameplay. And guess what? The beginning of the trailer says
What?
Nintendo Switch. Unless that was, maybe that was the ad. Let me check.
That might be the ad.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah,
There
the
was a
We know
little
why.
short ad right
We
before.
know why because that's also because we all know that Nintendo fans are the ones who play Sonic games the most, or we support them the most. Apparently,
There's frame rate hiccups in this video unless it's the video itself.
So you go to the contingency of Sonic fanboys who are always crying about Nintendo and be like, "Hey, stop biting the hand that feeds you."
yeah.
These guys, they get really,
Somebody needs to get their shit together.
these guys get really out of hand. Oh, Nintendo is
You know what I'm mad about?
games
You know what I'm mad about? You made fucking Shadow playable. I'm sitting over here looking like, where's my other characters at? I don't want to fucking play its classic Sonic. Give me Tails and Knuckles. Fuck.
Yeah, they're not in this game.
Oh no, they're in the game. They're just not playable,
Okay.
which is a fuck you.
You know what? The 2D stuff to me on Forces looks interesting. It's when you're running and it's the same old. You have middle, left, and right path, and it's forcing you like you're just running.
Which is funny because you're like the opposite of the rest of the fan base. The rest
That's
of
the
the fan
part
base
that
wants,
completely unplayable to me.
which is funny because that's the part that everyone wants more of. They don't really care for Sonic in 2D. Well, at least not 3D Sonic in 2D. They want classics. I mean, they want 3D Sonic in 3D.
It's crazy.
I'm
But
sorry.
that's just like, some people want story of Mario, and I don't. And I want the 3D game to have a lot more 2D looks interesting, and the 3D stuff never worked for me.
And I know we're about to end, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out real quick. Hey guys, guess what comes out Friday? We got that Dragon Ball Z and that Pokken tournament to come out Friday. So if you want your real fighting games, there you go.
Well, I know Retro likes the 3D Dragon Ball games.
Man,
I just feel that
we need fighters.
like I grew up here in Europe and in France, especially Dragon Ball was like big like in the 80s already. And so from the Super Nintendo, you already had a lot of 2D fighting games. So when they brought out the Tenkaichi games, which were in 3D, those were real Dragon Ball fights. And I love fighting games, 2D fighting games. Like with my brother, I played them to death. I played all of them. Dragon Ball Z Dragon Ball belongs in this 3D environment because it feels like an actual Dragon Ball fight, and in 2D, it just doesn't feel like a Dragon Ball fighting game.
Didn't they show some Dragon Ball Fighter Z gameplay?
Yeah, the beta's out.
I know some people were. I know at least one person was saying it was kind of a button masher type of fighter.
Well, because it's still based off the Guilty Gear. It's the same guys who did Guilty Gear. So if you don't know how to play Guilty Gear, then that's part of it. It's still using that same kind of battle system.
All right.
Dragon Ball Z. It's just really well animated and shit. I don't necessarily think. I think DBZ can work in both. I understand for the sake of how the anime represented it, that 3D makes more sense. Xenoverse is just kind of eh. Although I have seen reports of the Japanese version, people saying it runs well and they have fun with it. Motion controls were fine from what I've seen. People just aren't happy about the drop to 30 frames because everybody picked graphics over fucking frame rate, which is the opposite of what we wanted.
Fighter Z's in 30 frames or
no. I'm talking about Xenoverse.
Oh,
It's only 30 frames in multiplayer, and I think single player. I think it's 60.
Yeah, I meant to talk about the whole frame rate.
There was so much to talk about, not enough time.
And we kind of got off in that whole digital physical thing, but so let's retro. You kind of had that final thought. So you got anything? We'll do like final thoughts right now. You want anything to add to what you're just saying about Dragon Ball? Anything related to the podcast or anything else you want to talk about? You got a couple minutes here.
Yeah, I'll just like give my final words. No, I have nothing more to say about the Dragon Ball thing. I just always said what I wanted to say for a while, that I just feel those belong in 3D. Like when you can throw people across the world and they jam in the rocks and the earth shatters and you like warp around them, like that is Dragon Ball to me. And I just feel the 2D games, they're great, but they just can't do that. As for final words, so I finally saw Get Out after a while now. It took me a while. That was an incredible fucking movie. It was such a good movie. I didn't expect it to like it that much. And apart from that, it was a lot of fun. I don't know. I had a lot of fun, a lot more than like the last 2 times. They were fun, but I don't know. There was a lot of game talk.
But you like debating too, I've noticed.
What?
You like a little back and forth, I've noticed. I think you feed off that kind of stuff. We had a little.
No, what?
I just like the debates, the conversations. Like a lot of people, like especially with OJ, not taking into account that one debate thing. I just love that back and forth. Like I grew up with 3 brothers. I love talking about video games, and it's more fun when people have different opinions. Like with the car thing, you know. Like I just love that shit. It makes it a lot more exciting, I feel. So that's why I just really liked this week. It was great stuff. I'm missing Robert a little bit. Well, you know, he takes some of that edge off usually, but that was a great podcast. Definitely enjoyed it.
All right, Terrell.
Good podcast. Holy shit! I just realized SteamWorld Dig 2 comes out this week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Dude, I'm like, this is the one. It's starting to piss me off. It's like,
Bonus explosion times 10. Right at the perfect time too.
Yeah, it's we're getting to this point where like we ain't got no money, but they keep putting out games and they're sitting there like, hey man, you'll get that Pokemon tournament. I just bought Metroid. You'll get that SteamWorld Dig 2. I just bought Metroid, god damn it. And then you know next month is gonna
getting
be
any easier.
No, because Fire Emblem, and then a week later is fucking Mario, and then like a few weeks after that, it's Skyrim. I'm like, eat a dick. I'm so fucking mad. It's a good podcast, and yeah, it's a great problem to have. But damn it, I want to play games, and you won't. And you're making me have to rush to these bitches. I'm not gonna be able to play all these games in a fucking.
Isn't it crazy how we complain, or a lot of people complain about the droughts in the Wii U, but it actually gave you time to play the games and enjoy the games. And I'd say that's the biggest, if I want to quote unquote negative of the Switch this holiday, is that there's just, even if you like buy all the games, you're not gonna be able to sit there and play and enjoy them. Like, I really want to get into SteamWorld Dig 2, but I'm in the middle of a first Metroid 2D Metroid game, proper one, in like 14 years. You know, it's like, and then you got,
and it's the same style of game too.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those two games especially, and then you got, you know, for anyone that in Europe that's excited, if maybe they're not, but FIFA, you got Pokken, you got the Xenoverse, and then you got Mario, Fire Emblem in October. It's just, it's a good problem, but it's also, it is a problem. Like, I'm gonna have to miss out on some games, but anyway.
And that's what tripped me out, that you were replaying Zelda. I'm like, how the fuck did you find the time to replay Zelda?
I'm literally, it's gonna be Metroid and Zelda till Odyssey. That's kind of my plan.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm gonna finish Zelda on Master Mode, finish Metroid.
And then you'll have the DLC to play by the time you finish.
I think they're gonna delay that, but we'll talk about that another time. I think that's 2018. I think it makes sense. But
yeah.
T, final thoughts?
Yeah. First off, fuck you, Retro. You like that shit, don't you? You like it.
Yo, hit this man.
Hey, it wasn't an insult. I'm just stating a fact.
Hit this man.
Yeah, it's like you guys said, it's really tough, especially if you're a retro gamer and you're looking at your retro collection and you're like, God damn it, I want to play this game. I don't got no damn time. I have no time to go back to this game and play it. So it sucks even more on this, you know. And OJ made a really good point during our live stream or whatever. He was like, there's these guys always complaining about wanting games, and they buy 7 and only play 2, and they scream for more. It's like, you didn't even play that shit yet. So
we might know a couple guys like that may have been on the podcast.
Wow, this is the Shade Podcast. Man.
Their names,
yeah, what is going
start
on
with the same
today?
letter. I don't know, throwing it out there.
Yeah. So. Great podcast. You think you don't got nothing to talk about? Because I talked about a lot of this stuff already in OJ stream and whatnot.
And we missed, like, I really wanted to get your guys' take on if you thought some of these, like Doom and Wolfenstein, might be 30 frames per second. You know, we can talk about, that's going to be a topic for next week, because I have some theories.
We got time. Not
Yeah,
time
and
to
then
play
we'll
the
have
games.
we'll have the fucking Tokyo Game Show announcements.
Oh, yeah.
God, I'm so fucking mad.
Let's real quick. Let's talk about Sony's TGS. All right, we're done.
We're done.
Shadow Colossus, yeah.
Shit's on fire. Chill out, man.
You see, Juice didn't want to talk about the possibility of the Sony Switch or whatever.
You mean the PlayStation Go,
Because I
right?
just thought it was nonsense.
Yeah, because it's nonsense. I agree. Like I didn't make a video on it because there was no evidence whatsoever about
No,
it.
man, it's because you weren't super enough. That's what it was.
It's somebody.
Oh, this is shade all over.
really putting all their metal into trying to recover from being wrong about the Switch.
But it's so dumb. People
64
still
times
think,
probably.
I'm fucking dead. I'm fucking dead.
people
Turn
still
it up.
think you can make a portable console with an HD drive and shit, like 500,000 gigabytes and a flat screen TV on top of it. Like, you cannot make it.
Look at the Switch's problems. You think it's going to be better or
Sony's gonna
cheaper
have the same
somewhere
problems.
else? Come on.
As far as memory and the discs and stuff.
Guys, chill out. We can't do this tonight. We've gone
Yeah.
too far.
They're gonna have to have
That was
game
good.
card.
That was a good way to finish it up. I'm done.
You know,
Fucking dead.
If Sony does it, they're gonna have cartridges. They're gonna have to have 32, 64, 100 gig. They're gonna cost more. It's just gonna be the same problem. And then better graphics is gonna be worse battery life. It's just gonna be. It's just not time for it to be any more advanced. But anyway, like I said, next week I definitely want to discuss. I have maybe not as many concerns about Doom, but I definitely think Wolfenstein is going to be 30, and I think a lot of games are going to be 30. And after seeing NBA 2K18, this is my final thoughts, so we can debate this another time.
Yeah.
I'm not impressed considering 720p native in docked and 30 frames. I expected I understand the character models look good.
What are you talking about?
NBA 2K18.
Oh.
I don't think, considering what it sacrificed, it looks good enough to be 720 docked and 30 frames.
How you gonna end the podcast on that opinion?
I know that's cool, man. That's cool.
That's just my opinion. Like,
My opinion. Bye.
The
I know it's like
360,
look, you gonna throw this shit out, and
the
then be
360
like,
PS3 had
talk
close
about it.
physics. They had, I mean, the character models didn't look as good, but it had 60 frames per second. I just don't understand why this doesn't. It should at least been 1080 or something. Like they just had to sacrifice too much, and I don't think it was worth it. So that's my take on what I've seen from direct feed footage. I obviously haven't played it myself. I think 30 frames is fine for that game. From what I've seen, it looks like it's fine. I just don't think the sacrifices were worth. It just looks a little off to me. So, but that's.
Juice.
We can discuss that further. I'll
I'm
do
gonna
that.
say
In
he
Juice
sounds,
Opinions.
he sounds like an annoyed husband.
I'll
talking
do
to
that
his
in
wife.
Juice
It's
Opinions.
fine.
I'll go into further.
Yeah, another
detail.
place where you can't. There's no rebuttals.
Yeah, look at it. Look at this shit.
It's just, but you're not going to change my opinion that I think it doesn't look good enough for. I mean, you're just not going to. I mean, you can
Well,
have
you're
your.
about changing your opinions about giving ours too, but that's all good though.
Yeah,
I know
you-
it's
next
not.
week. Next week,
Right.
you guys can give your opinions on that and
Savage.
give somebody a little tease for next week, you guys. But we had a good viewership and a lot of comments in the live chat. So good week, good podcast. I don't love the disagreement stuff as much as retro, but you know, it was all. I don't think any hard feelings or anything. Like I've heard other podcasts get a little bit, quite a bit more salty, I should say, in the past. So
That's because they're talking about next gen conversations. That's why.
I'm not talking about that one. That's what I just felt we kept a leveled head throughout. You know, I thought everybody kept a level head.
What the hell is going on right now?
10 out of 10 best podcast.
Wow.
Go
But,
get this shit on iTunes. Never.
All right, we've gone on a long time. I just get back to playing some Metroid, and who knows next week what Nintendo's gonna. I know there's gonna be some Fire Emblem Warriors characters. Who knows what else they'll bring to the table at TGS. So look forward to next week. We'll be back on a Monday, and probably around 7:15, 7:30. So thanks for everybody for tuning in. It's been great, and we'll see you next week.